Something like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show. Weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillars. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media. And you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead and hit that like button, because you already know what time it is. And you know that this is where we're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've even seen some people do it well. But what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this. And it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks. Today we are going to be talking about a very interesting subject. A subject that should be something very accepted, but it's not really accepted. No reason for it not to be accepted, but it's not accepted. We're going to talk about black women aren't good people. Okay. That's what we're going to talk about today, y'all. Black women aren't good people. Okay. I know. Off that, some people may say, oh, that's kind of controversy. Not really. When you think about, well, I mean, technically it's only controversial because people don't want to deal with reality for some reason. Okay. All right. But before we get into this in any kind of real way, let me first take a moment out to say shout out to all the people who give me views on a regular basis. Shout out to each and every one of y'all. Appreciate it. Shout out to everyone who hits that like button on a regular basis, okay? Y'all know the like button helps with that algorithm, so I always encourage you to hit the like button. Doesn't make a difference how long a stream has been up. Just hit the like button. The more likes coming in, the better. Shout out to all the people who hype me up every chance they get. Don't go by with a chance to hype me up and not do it. Got to do that. We want to make the channel grow, y'all. You want to let this spread amongst the algorithm. So hype me up every chance you get. And shout out to the people who leave comments after the stream. And I do try to get to people's comments, with rather quickly. I'm gonna say I got a few that I ain't had a chance to get to yet, but I do try to make sure I like to get them done in the same day. Don't necessarily have them that way. That's what I like to do. But I definitely don't want them to go too far without me addressing them. So shout out to everybody who leaves comments after the stream, because it does help with the algorithm as well. Okay, at least as far as I can tell. And shout out to the people who go above and beyond the call of duty, the folks who become financial contributors of the stream. I definitely appreciate it. Y'all know, as they say, money talks. So it definitely allows me to do things that I wouldn't be able to do without y'all assistance. And I like to make this happen. I want this to be known as the greatest show on social media. And we just get the word spread. So shout out to everyone who throws a little something onto the plate, because all it helps at the end of the day. All of it helps. So shout out to each and every one of y'all. Shout out to each and every one of y'all. You are a bigger help than you would think that you are. And yes, y'all, it does not make a difference, big or small. I do appreciate it all. We got some cats who throw some big dollars out here. We got some folks who throw some small dollars. But as long as you do what you can, I'm gonna be good with it. And that's real talk. As long as you're doing what you can, I'm gonna be good with it. So shout out to all the big dogs out there, and shout out to all the young pups too. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, however you do it, shout out to each and every one of y'all, because I do appreciate it. Now, but let me also say real quick, shout out to, we get people who financially contribute, and I like to show them that it does mean something to me. So shout out to Daywalker82. He is the sponsor of today's stream. Shout out to Daywalker82, the sponsor of today's stream. Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very much. And let me give a few shout outs to some of the first people to check in this morning. When you start the show, it's always good to see you got a few cats chiming in. Boom. So shout out to my main man, Trail Bentley, being what we like to call around these parts, which is a coveted position, and you should make sure you have some of these under your belt. But shout out to Trail Bentley for being the Highlander of today's stream. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you, and appreciate you for representing as he always does. Hashtag lonely the habitual line steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the wilderness. Hashtag dignity over vagina. Hashtag Al Gore's babies. And my personal favorite, hashtag Hell Hydra. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. And we're going to be talking about a few Hydra members today, that's for sure. I'm sure some Hydra members are going to come up today. Shout out to the pit master himself, my main man, a guy who helps keep a little order around these parts, and his compadres. So shout out to our pit master, the one and only Chef Mike's Roundtable. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. And shout out to the pit crew as well. Appreciate y'all big time. Shout out to Tunnel Runner. What's going on, my brother? Great to see you. Great to see you. We got the Great Black Reset in the house. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. My main man, Floyd Thompson, is here. Yay, yay. Good to have you in the building. Good to have you in the building. Ken C. and Red, what's up, my brother? What's up? Inspired Truth Broadcast is here. Good to have you. Good to have you. We got Will Howard. What's going on, brother? What's going on? Great to see you. Great to see you. Brother John is in the building. Great to have you, brother. And we got Boot Camp representing as well. So shout out to all y'all in the chat. And we going to get this thing going, y'all. We're going to deal with a very serious issue amongst Black folks in this particular country, especially our FBA Black folks. Okay. Shout out to all my hoes. The monetize has entered the room. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. All my hoes, the monetize, look like he came drunk this morning. Y'all look like he showed up drunk, but that's okay. You hear now? He say, "Worst show on YouTube," and I'm still here. Nah, hey, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. And woo, even though I know he's kidding, It's great to see him. Great to see him. That's real talk. Great to see you, brother. Great to see you. Y'all, we gonna get into this, y'all. Okay. Black women aren't good people. I remember years ago when I first said this on somebody's show, and people act surprised. Okay. That's crazy part. It was folks that act surprised that I just said something that wasn't planned out. It was just a natural reaction to conversation and questions. And, you had to look at things and examine things and just come to a realistic conclusion. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do as people, right? We're supposed to look at stuff and be able to come to a realistic conclusion. We're not supposed to be out here with everything in fantasy land. I'm not against fantasy. I am not against imagination. I appreciate a lot of folks who use quote unquote fantasy and imagination. They create television shows, movies, books, all types of stuff that we enjoy as a people. But as they say, there's a time and place for everything. Okay, there's a time and place for everything. So when it comes down to it, we got to be real about things. Okay, we got to be real. And I know this particular type of subject matter is a hard thing for people to get real about. And then unfortunately, we have people who get real about it, but they kind of overdo it sometimes. Okay, they you know, too much emotion into it sometimes, too much anger gets put into it sometimes. But we're gonna have a mature conversation today, y'all. That's what the goal is, a mature conversation about this, because there will be people that disagree, you know. And if you happen to live in America, you do have a right to disagree. It won't make you right, but you do have a right to disagree. You know, and we want to respect that around these parts. Okay, and shout out to all my people listening outside of America. Shout out to all y'all. Appreciate y'all too. Appreciate y'all too. Okay. Now, newer people, you may not know it, but I'm not saying I do it all the time, but a lot of times I will throw some links in the description just so people can get an idea of some things that I'm talking about. And I did put a couple random links that I had. You know, I keep random links here or there, stuff I come across from time to time. Then I share stuff sometime. I ain't saying I do it every day, but a lot of days I do throw links in the description. So sometimes we are referring to things that are linked in the description that you may not be aware of. All right. And today is one of those times I put a couple links in real quick before the show got started. You know, just regular old black women. You know, nothing special. Okay. Just regular black women being regular black women and, you know, doing the type of things that black women do. Okay. And, you know, you got to be understanding that they people too, y'all. No group of people are perfect. And that's just what it is. There ain't no group of people that's walking around here perfect. Ain't no perfect people. You know, last perfect person I know about was Jesus. And if your name ain't Jesus, it's a good, that's a good reason for me to believe you're not perfect. Now, I do understand black women do make attempts to present themselves as perfect. I get that. And other people will also try to present them as perfect, depending upon the context of a conversation or something being presented in the media, things like that. They try to present that black women are perfect, but they not. Okay. Okay. You know, and shout out to Uncle Take. Uncle Take is in the chat. He says, I don't agree, but I heard your reasoning for it. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, we're gonna get into some reasoning for it. We definitely gonna get into some reason for it. You know, I'm gonna say, yeah, you don't have to agree, but people don't actually have to agree with truth. You know, and that's not taking a shot at you. I'm just saying, in a general concept, people don't have to agree with the truth. They don't. It's not required. It doesn't stop the truth from being the truth, though. Okay. Doesn't stop anything, but people don't have to agree with it. All right. Now, like I said, I threw a couple links in the description. You know, these are just random black women doing random things that, you know, people do. Okay. Now, are they doing things that represent the collective of black women? That's what you really should ask yourself. Do these things represent the collective of black women? Now, the first example, a woman who, based on what we can tell with the video, you know, and I don't know what happened in her situation. So I'm just going to say at this particular time, she was a suspected thief. I'll say that. At this particular time, she was a suspected thief. All right. All right. And shout out to Uncle Tate. He does say, it's all good. I enjoy your content. I listen a lot when I'm at work. Well, I'm glad I can help you get through your work day some, at least a little bit. You know, maybe not your whole work day, but I'm glad I can help you with the work day. So I do appreciate that, brother. I do appreciate that. Real talk. Okay. Now, again, y'all, we had a clip of a young lady who, at the time, a suspected thief. She was addressed by what I'm going to have to assume was a security officer. That's what I'm going to assume the person was. Okay. She took off running. Okay. You know, sometimes I guess that's a good move if you're the eighth thief. Sometimes not necessarily the best move. But, you know, we all take our chances where we want to take our chances. And at the end of the day, she did take off running. Now, are most black women thieves? I wouldn't necessarily say that. But if I had to bet my own money on it, see, that puts me in a different situation. If I had to bet my own money, now see, I might bet something different with your money. But if I got to bet my own money, would I say the collective of black women are thieves, meaning the majority? I don't know if that's a safe bet for me to say, no, they're not thieves. Because black women do steal in a lot of little ways that we don't even think about, or a lot of folks don't even mentally address it as stealing. You know, I wouldn't feel comfortable betting that they're not. I'll say that. I wouldn't feel comfortable betting my own money that they're not thieves. Okay. I've seen black women steal too much. I've seen instances where black women have stolen too much. I've heard too many stories about black women stealing too much. So I wouldn't feel comfortable betting my money that they're not thieves from a collective standpoint. I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. And the thing is, people say that's kind of unrealistic, but no, people steal. That's something people do. You know, you go into a shop, you get something because you quote unquote can't afford it, and they just take stuff. And because when it really comes down to it, a lot of people don't hold black women accountable. So we don't really think about them being thieves, especially when a lot of time people kind of just let them off the hook anyway. You'll catch them stealing, and then you'll let them off the hook and be like, man, we ain't gonna worry about it. It's too small. Oh man, let it go. She's a girl, you know, or she gives a sob story and then you just let her, you know, you let her slide. You know, she might, and I'm not even saying they steal for what would be perceived as bad reason on a regular basis. It could be a girl stealing diapers, you know, and she'll run the story about I got some babies at home, or my sister got some kids at home and I'm stealing it for her, and we'll just let it go. We'll just let it go. But if I actually had to put my own money up and say the collective of black women are not thieves, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing it. And that's just being realistic. I wouldn't feel comfortable because even though a lot of people let them off the hook, that does not mean they're not doing the act. Okay? Just is what it is on that note. Doesn't mean they're not doing the act. All right? Now, the thing about this particular thief, or suspected thief at the time, I should say, the thing about this particular one is that you see her, I'm going to assume this is her relatives, you know, maybe mom and grandma, maybe mom and auntie, whatever the case is, you know, could be sisters, we don't know. But I'm going to say it's people that love her. And you see there's someone addressing these two ladies that love this woman. This is my assumption, that they love this woman. That's why they're there. Now, this could be like at a police station. She could be talking to police. They could be talking to the police at this particular time, or you could say the police are talking to them at this particular time. Now, the video allowed us to see that she ran off, but because she wasn't paying attention to the way she was running, she done hit the pole. She done knocked her teeth out, you know. Now, me, I'm not the type of person to laugh at something like that. That's got to be rough on anybody to run. And you got to think about this. Somebody's running hard enough and they actually hit a pole and knock their own teeth out. You know, I mean, I laugh at funny stuff, but I don't find people's pain in general funny. It's a little bit harder to laugh at people's pain. So the fact that she lost some teeth, that's just kind of rough. That's kind of rough. Okay. But what happened after she lost those teeth? She gave a story to her people. You got somebody giving them the correct story on what actually happened, what they actually have footage of. And you hear them saying that, no, nobody stomped her when she was on the ground. You heard a woman say, well, somebody must have stomped on her something. Ain't nobody talking about stomping nobody. The lady just was confronted. She took off running. She ran into a pole. It happens, y'all. Thieves make mistakes too. Okay? Thieves make mistakes too. So she ran into a pole and knocked her teeth out. But the thing is, she wanted to tell her people something where she's going to gain some level of sympathy, and she wants somebody to look out for her instead of just saying, you know what? I tried it, man. I mean, who ain't never stole something before? We all done stole, pretty much most folks have stolen something before. You know, you might have stole a piece of candy when you was a kid. Okay. You know, you might have stole something because it just, boom, it was just so apparent and you just got tempted and you took it. Now, I'm not saying people can't be thieves because clearly people going to be thieves no matter what. But some people take it up as a lifestyle and they get to the point where they think it's really not stealing in their own head. It's not really stealing, you know, and they'll come up with all kinds of reasons that it's not really stealing. But the thing is, when you get caught, you're supposed to accept what you did, you know. Why are you lying on everybody else? Because you got caught. That's the name of the game. When people do illegal stuff, sometimes we get caught, sometimes we don't. But no, rather than just accept what she did wrong, okay, allegedly, she says, I got slammed to the ground. They knocked my teeth out. Now, what you doing all that for? Because truth be told, even if all that happened, you know, you ain't finna get, well, no, I ain't gonna say that. There's a possibility that somebody would drop the charge. So I understand. I understand telling a story if you are trying to get the charges dropped. Now, I doubt that's the reason she told the story, to technically get the charge dropped. It's just, I want somebody else to be in trouble instead of me. Okay. And maybe that is the same thing in her mind. Okay. Or if I can get somebody else in enough trouble, they'll forget about me. So maybe that really is the same thing in her mind. But the thing is, you did what you did. You got caught. You hit the pole. You lost some teeth. Why are you blaming other people because you lost some teeth because you played the game and you didn't happen to win? That's all it is to it, y'all. I'm not going to act like people just walking around here perfect. People do wrong stuff from time to time. But once you get caught, man, just deal with it. Okay? Once you get caught, just deal with it. If you don't want to take the risk, then don't take the risk. But if you take the risk, you got to be willing to just deal with what comes with taking the risk. Now, her risk, based on what we see in the video, seems like she was caught stealing. She ran off. So now she's trying to avoid responsibility for it, or as people like to say, accountability. And she lost some teeth, and now she got to make up a story about how somebody done did her wrong because she lost some teeth because she chose to not accept accountability for what she was doing. So everything is her own fault, but somebody else got to be in trouble about it. Now we got another gentleman. Okay. Look like it's just a random white guy delivering the pizza. Got a black woman who was on the other side of the hall, sees him out there, and basically for no reason, she starts bothering him except the fact that she just had a chance to do it. Now, whoever ordered the pizza is taking a long time to answer that door. I will say that now. Why are you wasting my time? If I'm delivering pizzas, why are you wasting my time like that, man? Come on. So whoever was supposed to open that door, if that was the right home where you supposed to accept the pizza, why you got the pizza man waiting like that? That's a little crazy. And I understand people give tips and whatnot, but y'all know people who delivering pizzas ain't making the most money for delivering pizzas. And them tips mean something to the people. And don't you want some hot, fresh food? Why are you waiting all day to open up the door? I don't know what that's about. So shame on the person that got the pizza man waiting that long. Okay, shame on that person that got the pizza man waiting that long. But hey, I get it. Yeah. So you got a woman who's just simply had an opportunity to bother somebody, and she took it. That's all this really was. You know, we see there's no indication they know each other. He didn't come there to address her at all. She just happened to be messing around in the hallway and decides to start bothering him. She take a picture of him. He just, why are you taking a picture of me? You know? And then she just start acting a fool. Now, my thing is, again, whoever he waiting on to open that door, why is you playing with the pizza man like that? It's your pizza. It's your pizza. You got him waiting a long time, you know, to be doing all that. But so she just really just took advantage of an opportunity to bother him. And that's all it really was. You know? Not the most egregious thing, but is this, you know, Is this the average black woman? Do black women do stuff like this in general? I'm going to say yes. Black women do bother a lot of people who did nothing to them. Okay, let's just keep that real. They have made being a victim a serious thing that black women strive to become. Okay. Now, what did she do? She tried to bait the man to come into her place after showing the weapon. After showing the weapon, so what was she trying to do? She was trying to bait the man to go in her place so she could kill him and then say it's his fault that he killed her, that he got killed by her while antagonizing him. That was an attempt to play victim. That man was trying to deliver pieces. Ain't he got enough problems? You know, ain't he got enough problems? He's trying to deliver pieces, y'all. Now, I'm not saying a rich man can't deliver pieces. I'm not saying that. A rich man could deliver pieces. But I do not expect some multimillionaire to be out on the streets delivering pieces. Ain't life hard enough as it is that he delivering pieces. Leave the dude alone. He delivering pieces. Like, why are you bothering the pizza guy? And then when it comes down to it, y'all, if you bother people who deliver food, you make delivering food an uncomfortable thing. Now we can't get food delivered because you keep bothering people who delivering food. See, I'm looking at this. This ain't good for me. I ain't saying I do it every day, but from time to time I will order something and I want somebody to bring something to me. It happens from time to time. Okay? If you make people scared to do deliveries, you creating a problem. All right? You creating a problem. I don't want to deal with that. So leave the delivery guys alone. That's all I'm saying, man. You don't know what people need delivered. Leave the delivery people alone. Let them do what they got to do out here. Okay? Let them do what they got to do. Chill. Okay? Chill out. Real talk. Now, this has nothing to do with relationships at all. These two examples. Nothing to do with relationships at all. This is just them being them, living their lives, doing their everyday thing. And a lot of them just don't choose to be good people. Now, I'm going to say, I do understand because a lot of folks don't hold them accountable. It's more enticing for black women to not be a good person. You know, that's the way they live because as long as they don't have to deal with the repercussions of it, you know, they just taking advantage of what they can get away with in life. And that's just something women do. They try to take advantage of what they can get away with in life. All right. Now, is that something that black women do on a regular basis? Yes. Of course, a lot of black women going to take advantage of what they can get away with in life. That's kind of they MO in most situations. Okay? That's their MO in most situations. Okay? They want to get away with stuff. Now, when you got people who are always looking to get away with something, or at least most of the time looking to get away with something, or they're more prone to taking advantage of trying to get away with something because their ideal of society is they're not going to hold me accountable. When you think about someone saying black women aren't good people, like what's the mystery? We as other members of society that are not black women, and I'm saying collectively, we don't like to hold them accountable. So why would you expect them to be people that are good? Okay, people have to be trained to be good. You think about it, you ain't never had to train a kid to be bad. You have to train children to be good. That's what you train them to do. You don't train them to be bad. They get that up. They start figuring that out on their own. Okay, they start figuring that out on their own. You train them so they'll be good. Okay, so it to be a reasonable expectation that they're going to move as a good person in the world. Now you remove accountability. Why you think they gonna be good with accountability removed? Does it really even make sense to have an expectation that they're going to be good with accountability removed? Police don't like to arrest them. Okay. Lawyers don't like to prosecute them. Okay. You got mothers who don't like to punish them. Eventually when they become adults, they will date men who don't like to hold them accountable to stuff. So why would you expect them to be good people? Now, I'm not saying it's unreasonable to expect them to be good people. What I'm saying is, if we look at what the conditions are, what are the conditions that would give you an expectation that they will be good people? Okay. Shout out to Elder Blood. He said, Roger, regardless of what anyone says, remember in the Bible, the black woman was the first definitely evil person in existence. God said she brought forth evil. Well, look, I'm not the type of person to argue with what the Bible say. That's just not me. I've gotten to a lot of stuff, and then somebody pull out a Bible verse, and I just have to roll with it because, hey, it is what it is. Okay? So don't look for me to argue with the Bible. That's all I'm going to tell you, man. Don't look for me to argue with the Bible. All right? All right. Now, I got to know a little something. Now, I understand sometimes people use something out of context or whatever the case is, or you don't know enough about the Bible to know that this thing was said, but the thing that was said was a recorded lie, because there are lies that are recorded in the Bible, or people using it out of, people use stuff out of context sometimes. But yeah, I ain't going to argue with the Bible. Now, if I think somebody's bringing up some nonsense that don't make sense, I'd be like, well, hold on, let me get back to you. Let me check on this, or whatever the case is, because it sounds too crazy. And I don't believe you, or I definitely don't believe what you presenting. But at the end of the day, I ain't gonna sit there and argue with the Bible. I'm gonna find out what's really going on. And sometimes you got to get back to it later. It just is what it is. Sometimes you got to get back to it later. All right. Now, the thing is, though, if we live in a society where we are unwillingly, collectively, I'm not saying any individual, but if we're collectively unwilling to hold them accountable, where's their reasonable expectation they'll be good people? Okay. Where's the reasonable expectation that they will be good people? What are you basing that on? Okay. Black women are literally paid to break up families. Let's keep it real, y'all. There have been white people in charge or in a lot of certain positions of power, and they like to pay black women to break up families. That's why you have women who live in projects. Okay. A lot of people don't think about it that way, but why would any woman live in the projects? Why? Why would she live in the projects? You got all these things that you can do in life, but you choose to live in the projects? Like, why would somebody live in the projects? That's somebody taking what they consider the easy way out. I don't want to work. I don't want to be responsible. So I would rather, make an agreement with the government that they'll give me some stuff and I'll just break up a family. Okay. Yeah, I got some dude to get me pregnant. I'm not finna be his wife. No, I'm not finna be his wife because the government would pay me to not be his wife. Now, yeah, I may have to live in the projects, but even them project dudes, they going to put something in me. At the end of the day, it ain't going to be as rough as I make it out to be, because they all want to hit. And y'all know how women think. They think all of them want to hit. No matter what's going on, they think all of them want to hit. Okay? So the government going to pay me to break my family up. A lot of times, I'm not going to even truly put the family together because the government says all I got to do is fill out these forms and I can get this free stuff. So I ain't got to divorce nobody. I ain't never even got to marry you. All I got to do was fill out these forms and I'm good to go. Yeah, I'm going to live in the projects, but the men in the projects want to have sex with me because, heck, I'm a woman. They all want to have sex with me. It doesn't make a difference what I look like. They all want to have sex with me. So I'm good, which means I can be bad, which means I can be disrespectful to men. Because I ain't gonna never have to answer the man. I'm not finna be with him. I'm up. Because the government gonna pay me, aka the white man gonna pay me to not be good to a man. And I like that idea. As a woman, I like the idea of the government paying me to not be good to men. And yet we have this expectation of black women and we act like they're good people. Well, I mean, what are we basing it on? Why would we even have the expectation? Okay? Why even have the expectation? Why look at them as they're not doing what they're doing? Now, in a relationship context, yeah, a lot of stuff gets done. A lot of women try to manipulate men that they're having a relationship with. They'll even claim they love the man. Okay? As long as he can do something for her, she'll claim she loves him. But the idea of him not being able to do for her, all that love is out the window. All that love is out the window. Because it was never there. Okay. Shout out to the Dollar Another channel. Always good to see you. Okay. Now, you look at a woman, you look at a group of women who the majority don't want their children to be raised by their father. Now they will pretend that something's wrong with the dad. Yet they was having sex with this man on a regular basis enough times that they got pregnant. Because people act like, I'm not saying you can't get pregnant with one time. I'm not saying that ain't the case. Technically, two people have sex, they could get pregnant in one time of having sex, but that ain't what happens with folks most of the time. Most time it's gonna be more than one occasion. Woman will sleep with a man for a good amount of time. As long as she can get that baby out of him, she could. Okay? And then don't want him to raise his child. Now, let's just think about it, y'all. Are the collective of black children being raised in their father's home? Because if they're not being raised in their father's home, how do you come to a conclusion that black women are good people? The lack of them having children that are being raised with their father is a huge indicator that they just ain't good people. But again, people act like something is off or something is crazy or, well, Roger, that don't make sense. They have to be good people. Who? Wow, how they got to be good? Who say they got to be good? If they were good people, how come the average black child is not being raised in their father's home? You tell me why that is if they're good people. Okay, you tell me. Because I don't know. Because we're talking about a collective of women and we're talking about a collective of children. How come the collective of women don't have their children living in their father's home? And how do you explain that with them being good people at the same time? Okay? How do you explain that? Because I got no clue. I got no clue. Now, I would understand if most black women were widows, and that doesn't happen to be the case. Most black women with children are not widows. See, I understand the widow. Widow had a bad situation. She married a man. Unfortunately, he died, and she had kids with him already. I understand that. Okay? There's no indication there she's being a bad person. No indication. But if most children aren't raised with their fathers just because they're black, then how could black mothers belong to a group of women who are good people? How does that work? Now, shout out to Elder Blood one more again. He said, according to the scripture and forensic analysis of it, the black woman has been the worst helpmate in human existence and the most traitorous going back to Eden. Well, I mean, again, at the end of the day, what's the motivation for them to be good people? Because let's think about this on a realistic basis. Black women try to bully people. You know, black men accept black women bullying them. And why do they do that? Because based on how America works, man's gonna figure, what can I really do about her acting this way? If I hit her, she gonna call the cops. The cops gonna do everything they can to make sure it's my fault. The legal system gonna do everything it can to make sure it's my fault. And if I hit her, and I mean the slightest hit, there's a grand possibility I'm gonna end up going to jail tonight. That's just a real thing. Okay, that's the rule. Now you may have an exception to the rule where, you know, police get called by somebody and then the woman goes to jail as she should. But let's keep it real. Most black men ain't gonna do nothing because they know it's a good chance that he gonna go to jail. I got to be at work in the morning. I am not trying to deal with this lady like this, and I ain't finna go to jail. Okay, I ain't doing it. So what does he do? He elects to let her get away with whatever she's doing. Now, does this mean she's beating on him? Yeah, sometimes it does. Okay, sometimes it does. Black women don't have any real fear of hitting a black man because they do not expect any black man to hit them back. Okay, that's the general consensus amongst black women. They don't expect no brother to hit them back, and they also expect if some brother were to hit them, even though he's defending himself, any black man in the vicinity who saw it will come defend her. That is their expectation. Now, when you have an expectation like that, let's think about it, y'all. Think about the mindset of a person like that. Why would they be a good person? Think about that. Why would they be a good person? You see, when you talk about something like this at a serious level, and it ain't about cracking jokes, it ain't about just trying to quote unquote drag somebody. When you just talk about it from a serious standpoint, it's hard to figure why black women would elect to be good people. Because let's keep it real, they all can choose to be a good person. It ain't a single one of them in their right mind who can't choose to be a good person. They can choose it. And in America, thank God, there's enough freedom to choose to be a good person. Okay, you ain't really got to debate that here. People would make claims about how stuff is in other countries, even though there's a lot of countries similar to America. But people would make claims about how something is in other countries and all that. And to avoid that debate, I just, hey, okay, we just use America as an example. I know America. You can't tell me they don't have the freedom to be good here. That you can't tell me. Well, I guess you can say it, but I ain't got to believe you because I know what go on over here. They got the freedom to be good. Yeah. Okay. Ain't nobody gonna really do anything to them if they choose to be a good person. But that ain't what they like to choose. They choose what they like to choose. And a lot of them will make excuses for not choosing to be a good person. Now, let's think about this, y'all. A lot of black women will say, the reason I'm not a good person is because when I attempt to be a good person, black women will jump on my case. Now, let's think about what I just said, y'all. Black women will claim that they choose not to be a good person because if they're a good person, then black women would jump on their case. Okay, so now you got the things like the internet. You got folks who put stuff out there. A lot of black women say, well, you know, I ain't going to say nothing positive about me and my man. Whoa. Wouldn't a good person say something positive about their man? Isn't that a reasonable expectation of a good woman that she'll say something positive about her man? Yeah, well, okay. We're going to bypass that, though. We're going to bypass that real quick. A lot of women will say, well, I don't say anything good about my man because if I say something good about my man, other women are going to attack me. And what do they mean? some women that they don't know will leave nasty comments under a video, a post, or some type of statement that they said that credited their man for the good things that he does. But rather than spread the word of how good their particular man is, the women who will have something negative to say about her because she did a thing mean more to her than the fact that she has a good man. Yep. The strangers that she don't know, that she don't have to meet, that she's not gonna be in the same room with, they mean more to her than spreading the good news about her man. And you know what? A lot of brothers accept that. A lot of brothers do accept that. Now I'm gonna tell you the truth. I've had some women tell me, well, I don't want to say nothing positive about black men, especially because I know I'm gonna quote unquote get jumped on the internet. Okay, yeah, they're talking about people saying nasty things to them because they're being positive toward a black man, even though that's their real life. And I'm gonna be realistic. I understand. Ain't nobody finna ask you to fight no fight. I get it. Ain't nobody finna ask you to fight no fight. I'm not gonna beg no black woman to take on no fight that she don't believe she needs to take on. I get it. But I also accept that's who you are. I don't have an expectation that a good woman can't never say nothing good about her man. Because good women talk about how great they men are. A man is a very big deal to a woman. And that's just what it is. Even the woman who say, well, I don't want to be known as this and I don't want to be known as that. Hey, they got their reasoning, but are any of them positive? Shout out to Elder Blood again. He says, between the black women and the black men, the white man got the black men shackled, and it is the black woman who actually got the black man enslaved. They've been tag teaming the black man a long time without end. Well, black women are on white supremacist side. Now, if we talk about the collective, we talk about the majority. The majority of black women are white supremacists. That's a real thing. So a lot of them are tag teaming with whatever they think white men want them to do. That's just how it goes. Now, we can pretend that ain't the truth, or we can pretend or we can just accept that it is the truth. That's on us and what we want to do. We can pretend like it's not the truth, or we can just accept the reality. Now, shout out to Aja Bay. Aja Bay, that picture, I don't know 100% for sure, but I'm thinking that's Sarah from the past. That's what I'm thinking. Am I correct? Am I correct? I could be wrong. I know I could be wrong. Okay. But I'm thinking that picture was Sarah from the past. I don't know for sure though. So let me know. Let me know. All right. Now, shout out to Michelle Obama. The black woman who's going down in history, or technically has already went down in history, as the first black first lady of America. Okay. And shout out to apologizing ahead of time. Sarah, that's Sarah B. I know you're Sarah B. Okay. I'm talking about Sarah from the past. Apologizing ahead of time. I know you're Sarah B. I caught that. I seen that Sunday you put it out there. I know that you Sarah B. So shout out to you, Sarah B. Good to see you too. Good to see you too. Now, shout out to I Am Jermaine, which I believe was Mr. Tolbert. I believe you're Mr. Tolbert. Okay. Shout out to you, brother. And I do appreciate the super chat. He says, when I walk around work and life suited and booted, I see black women give me this look like, damn, I can't say, I'm going to say S. I ain't going to curse. Okay. I can't say S about him because he's probably a good guy. It's always A backwards with some black women. You know what? Not only do I accept that that's literally the truth, because I do accept that that's the truth. I definitely accept that that's the truth. And why do I accept that? Because there's so many black women who've literally come out and say, you know what? I had a man and he was good. He was a good man to me. He did X, Y, and Z, and I left him. There's never a good reason presented why they left. No, he was good. He didn't do nothing wrong. He treated me right. He was faithful. He looked out for me. He tried to help me see things in life that I couldn't even see at the time. But he said, don't even worry about it. I know you don't get it, but I got you anyway. And he let me learn and come into knowledge at my own time. But because he was so good to me, I had to leave. A lot of sisters say this, and a lot of, they putting it online now. Now, shout out to all the sisters who put that online so people can understand this is a very real thing that's been going on for a long time. But I know what some folks seeing is believing. So shout out to the sisters that that's putting the stories out there so people can see it. Now, I've been knowing this was going on, but I understand that there'll be brothers who won't accept that that's what the truth is. Yeah, he treated me good. He looked out for me. He did stuff for me. It took me a while to even figure out that the thing that he did was actually in my best interest. And because he was doing me so good, I had to get up out of there. I had to get up out of there. Okay? I just wasn't comfortable. And I get that. And that's just black women telling y'all, and a lot of people can't hear what folks are saying because they don't use certain particular words. That's just a woman telling you, I'm not a good person. I was with a man who was being good to me. And because he was being good to me consistently, he made me uncomfortable. Because I'm a bad person. And because I'm a bad person, it is difficult for me to be with a man that's good because our personalities don't mesh. See, there's been something going on that's somehow it's been a secret basically my whole life. It's been like a secret my whole life. I find a lot of resistance to this concept. Now, I don't know why it's a secret. It's almost hard to believe that it's a secret. But as they say, common sense ain't common no more. People do say that. And there's folks giving them plenty of reasons to say stuff like that. So what is this secret? It's a secret out here, okay, that good women are with good men and bad women are with bad men. Because good women don't mesh well with bad men. Just how it is. And bad women don't mesh well with good men. Good people like good people. Bad people like bad people. So yeah, we hear a lot of women say all these things about black men. And let's keep it real. They trash their man while they with the man, and then they trash him after they done being in a relationship with the man. And they talk about how bad the guy is. And it's like a secret, some kind of way that people don't know she's a bad woman. That's why she was with a bad man. People make all kinds of excuses. Well, he was a bad man, so I understand why you had to do this, and I understand why you had to do that, because, yeah, based on the story you tell, he's a bad man. Ain't no good woman with some bad man. That ain't real, y'all. If a good woman meets a bad man, if she's a good woman, she's going to start to learn who she is. Excuse me, she's going to start to learn who he is, and then she gone. Now, I generously will give women up to 6 months to leave a man. Because some of them they lie, and they like to tell this story that I didn't know he was this, and I didn't know he was that. Okay. I'm going to let your nonsense ride for 6 months. But how you going to tell me you 6 months in a relationship with a guy and you don't know he's a bad guy? Well, see, I didn't know he was doing all that. What did you not know he was doing? What was the bad thing that you didn't recognize he was doing? Well, yeah, I was with him, but see, I didn't know he was selling drugs, and I don't get down like that. But you was with him for more than 6 months? Oh, he beats women, and I don't like no man who beats women. But you was with him for more than 6 months? Or he don't take care of his kids. So, I don't like men that don't take care of their kids. But you was with him for more than 6 months? See, he lazy. He won't keep no job. But you was with him for more than 6 months. So I'm supposed to believe that you this good person. You somewhere between good and great as a woman. But I'm supposed to believe that you was with this quote unquote bad man for more than 6 months. And it's because you was too ignorant to tell how bad he is. That's what you want me to believe. Okay? That's what you want me to believe? That you so slow that you just couldn't tell he was all these bad things and you was with him longer than 6 months. Well, see, when I was with him, he wasn't acting this way, but he became a drunk. You didn't know this man was alcoholic for 6 months? Well, no, see, he wasn't drinking alcohol when I met him. Okay, so his reaction to your relationship is becoming a drunk. Oh, no. It's not me. It's not me. Wait a minute now. You said when you met him, he wasn't a drunk. You said that he started drinking after he's with you. So basically what you're telling me, because you came into his life, he couldn't take it no more and he became a drunk. He's trying to avoid the reality that he's with you. No, it's not that. It's not that. Oh, okay, well, why does a man become a drunk when he with you? He was able to live his life the whole time. He was good and stable the whole time. But one relationship with you, now he a drunk. Okay? So people say a lot of crazy stories. And I'm going to say people don't hold the folks accountable when they say these crazy stories. Now, me personally, I ain't got no real issue holding the woman accountable. So when you start telling me how he became a drunk while he was with you, at some point I'm going to have to ask, well, what made him pick up the bottle? Okay? Because you say he was cool. That's the story you want to tell me. You want to say he wasn't no drunk to pretend like you was this good person. So what made him pick that bottle up? Not only did he pick that bottle up, he started to overindulge. What about his reality was he trying to avoid when he became a drunk? Because according to your own story, it was when he was with you that he became a drunk. He wasn't a drunk when you met him. You ain't quote unquote know he was a drunk at all. But now y'all been together a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, whatever you want to say. And now he picked up that bottle. And I'm supposed to believe it ain't got nothing to do with you. Now, I'm not even blaming you for him becoming a drunk. But what I am saying is, based on the story you're telling me, and his reality, I'd rather drink than deal with this woman. If I'm going to deal with this woman, I need to be drunk out of my mind. That's what you literally telling me. And I'm supposed to believe everything's cool on your end. Okay. All right. If that's the story you want to tell, okay. Now, shout out to No Placeholder. He says, gotta love your discipline, Roger Report. No matter what's going on in the world, you still keep a foot on black women's neck. Hashtag long little habitual line steppers. Hashtag brothers in the wilderness. Hey, No Placeholder. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you, my brother. And I'm going to say this to you. That's because I actually love black women. Black women are worth my time investment. They are, because I actually love them. Okay? Yeah, the people who love you going to call you out sometime. I actually love them. Now, I ain't got a lot of good reasons for justifying my love to them. You know? But I accept that. I do love them. Okay? I do accept that I love them. But me loving them don't make them good people. Okay? Me loving them does not make them good people. Because if that was the case, I would have to claim that I only love good people. And I don't do that. No, I love people, and they not necessarily good people. I don't hang out with them, but I love them. Okay? I might go somewhere, but when they come through, shortly, I got to go because I don't want to be in their company like that. Still love them, though. Okay? They in my heart. I pray for some folk. They in my heart. It is what it is, man. They in my heart, you know? But at the end of the day, that's not enough for me to ignore who they are as people. Okay, that's just not enough for me to ignore who they are as people. Shout out to Inspired Truth Broadcast. He said she admires the bad guy. Well, I'm going to say shout out to Inspired Truth. Yeah, the bad woman does admire the bad guy. Because a good woman don't admire the bad guy. That's what I'm going to say. The good women don't admire the bad guy. But the good women do admire, the bad women do admire the bad guy. But see, it's been like this secret that people have been pushing to black men that hey, she likes a bad guy, but she's a good woman. How do you put those things together and make it work? If she's a good woman, why would she like the bad guy? It don't work. Okay. Shout out to Johnny 2G. He says, but who hurt you? The classic response of a black man that can see. Y'all, this is a classic response of a black man who can see. So shout out to Johnny 2G with the laughing emoji. Okay. This is a classic response to a black man who can see, y'all. Cause people, a lot of women would throw that out there to you. Okay, so now you can see, and now it's about who hurt you because you can see. I'm not blind. Okay. I see people that are good, I see people that are bad. So because I can see the bad people too, now somebody had to hurt me. That's the excuse. Well, what if somebody did hurt me? If somebody hurt me, does that mean they're not a bad person? Because even that logic makes no level of sense, because if you're a bad person, ain't you more likely to hurt somebody? I'm just saying. Aren't the bad people more, you got to worry about them hurting somebody more than you have to worry about the good people? Okay. So it don't even make sense, but I get it. Because I can see, now all of a sudden somebody had to hurt me. I met a woman a few days ago, y'all. I told her, I got a show coming up. Now, I didn't do it the day I said I was going to do it because I forgot I had to do something else. But I told her, I'm going to do a show about black women not being good people. Now she joked, was like, well, I might have to beat you up for saying that. I'm like, okay. And I get it. She was cool lady, whatever. She was being funny or whatever. So I ain't taking no kind of way. It wasn't no personal attack. But I did ask her, I say, you're a black woman. Let me ask you something. And just give me your honest opinion. Okay? And I asked her probably one of the most dangerous questions in the world that you can ask a black woman. I say, I understand individuals do this and individuals do that. But I said, can you tell me something that black women do collectively? Not you, not your auntie, not your little cousin, okay? I said, can you tell me something black women do collectively that would indicate that they're good people? Can you tell me what that is? Now, she said, we're mothers. I say, okay, are you saying the collective of black women are good mothers? The ones that have children? Are you looking at that group of women saying they're good mothers? She put her head down for a second. And I say, look, I ain't trying to put no pressure on you. Just tell me one trait that you believe indicates black women are good people. Just give me one. She couldn't give me one. But I get it, y'all. There will be some people who say, well, Roger, who hurt you? Because I can see. Am I supposed to miss everything in life? God gave me senses for a reason, y'all. I use them. So I can see. Why are we acting like something wrong with me? Because I can see. But let me hold off right here because the one and only Black Rule has come up to grace the panel. So shout out to Black Rule Strikes. I'm going to turn the mic over to him. You may start wherever you want to. My brother, great to have you here.
Hey, Roger. As always, enjoying your show. Definitely always a timely topic because there's always more meat on this bone to gnaw on. But you reminded something you said about the whether someone becomes an alcoholic, the comment you made about a guy becoming an alcoholic by being with women. You may recall a few years ago you had a woman on your panel, and she, as Black women wanted to come to complain about Black men, specifically the men she's dealt with. And she complained of having one guy who she had been involved with, who was an alcoholic, which I guess she presented as being the source of their troubles in their relationship. But as we continue to, I mean, I guess it's fair to say, interrogate her, you may recall this, we discovered that she had been in relationships with like 3 other guys, all of which have been like alcoholics.
I definitely know
And
what we're talking about.
we basically figured out she liked drunk dick. that was her thing, you know. You know, and I actually think that's more of a common thing. I mean, in men and women, I think men and women, you know, there's a percentage of us that enjoy inebriated sex, where there's a sort of an arrested state of consciousness to some degree, you know, or inhibition. Maybe that's a better way to describe it. So, no, there's a lot of women out there who they won't admit to it because then obviously there are problems that typically come along with being drunken or high or whatever. But there are a lot of women who you know, like you say, if she didn't make him uh, a high or a drunk, he definitely didn't do a damn thing to stop it. You know, and there are a lot of women out there, Black women especially out there like that. But on the broader subject of whether or how good they are, you know, one of the reasons why, many reasons, I say this a lot, that I am for Black men venturing out away from women is that because, as you noted earlier, there really isn't much of anything that punishes them when they misbehave in our society, unless they do so on a large enough scale of which some white men generally decide to do such, and even they are. I mean, as much as we want to say this is a racist society, even white people, white men, white people, are hesitant to severely punish Black women. So you don't even get the benefit of racists to curb the most of the misbehavior of Black women. And so I think, you know, in the formula of any sort of potential reform of Black community and society, I'm putting that term in quotation. As time go by, I'm not even sure what Black community or Black society even is, but to the extent that we, to some degree, actually agree with that is, if there is going to be any quote reform end quote of such, it's going to have to include a significant number and percentage of black men of value. I won't say high value, to not confuse things, but of value to be a flight risk, like your fellow habitual lines that Stepper noted years ago. We're going to keep on doing what we do until you all leave. And so I think part of the reform, if there is going to be it at all, they have to, enough of us have to be willing to lead and then actually lead. And I'll end my opening statement.
I must say, well said, and shout out to Sister George. Shout out to Sister George, who told black men the truth. The truth. We just ain't gonna act right till y'all make us pay for it. You know, that's basically all she said. Until y'all actually make us pay, we ain't finna act right. And she wasn't lying. And shout out to my fellow habitual line stepper, my brother Kev. Shout out to Kev BMBBH. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to Black Men Being Brutally Honest. That's my first habitual line stepper brother. Okay, shout out. You know, he one of the final straws that got me on the internet, y'all. So shout out to Kev. People been bugging me for years, and he finally was the final straw. I say he was the final straw. Well, I said, let me go and pick up a mic and do this thing and just get into it. So shout out to you, brother. Appreciate you big time. Now we have another Kev. The Great Black Reset is in the building, and brother, you got the mic. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you.
What's happening? Am I coming in loud and clear today?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Shout out to Baltimore and their internet. So another Kev is responsible for us having to deal with Roger on here, keeping his foot on the neck of these black women. Okay. I'm going to use an example that we should all know by now, coming from our marathon show. We had this wonderful, sweet, and kind young lady come up here and explain to us how she communicated with the Lord, and He taught her how to cook, and she walked away from several relationships to fall in love with a warlock. And she was just as kind and as sweet as she thought she could be, and she thought that was okay. And I use this example to say that even when they're doing things that are backward, by Christian standards, they still think that's good stuff, man. They still think that's okay. They still think they're being good people. They don't see the things that they're doing. They don't see the alienation of fathers from their children as being an evil thing to do. They don't see turning your children against you as an evil thing to do. They don't see turning your boys into effeminate men and turning your girls into masculine women as an evil thing to do. They don't think being someone that is able-bodied but deciding to live off of welfare as thievery. They really do not see the problem. And to follow up with what Uru was saying, I also think that there needs to be some extreme measures to correct this. We need to be segregated. We need to be segregated from the white population, and we need to have autonomy over our own population so that we can correct this. And I'm gonna lay my plane there.
Well said, brother. Well said. People see what they want to see, y'all. People see what they want to see. And I've said time and time again, you got to hold people accountable for what they believe. Because when it comes to belief, that's a choice. Belief is about what you don't know, but you think is real. So you author your own beliefs, okay? Because you don't have to accept anything that anybody tells you. Heck, there's people that don't accept the truth right now. There's a lot of people who don't accept that black women aren't good people because you will hear them argue that black women are good people. You'll hear them arguing that somebody failed them. Now, as a woman, it is your responsibility to get you a man that's willing to take care of you. This is the position that men and women are in. Men, we understand we have to take care of a woman if we want to keep her around for real. And women need to understand that it's on them to get a man who's willing to be around for real to actually take care of them. But a lot of us, we approach things in a very opposite direction. Women will try to convince me that I need to do for them. And a lot of them never even think about the simple question: why are you important? Why would you matter to me? You're gonna come into my world as somebody I have to take care of. I'm coming in your world as somebody who's willing to take care of you. So why you matter to me? Okay. And as somebody once said, because I don't remember who said it, the job don't apply for you. You apply for the job. Now, if women won't take the position that they're going to take care of me, then I would have a lot of thoughts about what their concerns are. Because you paying for it. See, when I don't have to pay for stuff, I let a lot of stuff go. Okay? Somebody say, hey, man, we finna go out to eat. I'm treating. I don't ask nobody where we going. I don't. You know, I may say it in the context of where do you want me to meet you? Because I'm not measuring where you're taking me to because I'm not paying. I'm finna go get some free food. I'm good. Okay. I ain't tripping like that. But for black women, they want me to pay for them and then tell me how I'm supposed to pay for it. I'm the one earned this money. You ain't earned none of it. So how are you important to me? I don't even get why you think you're important. Because I haven't said you're important. So where do you even get the conclusion that you're important? And I ain't even told you was. I don't understand that. And then I have to say, would a good person do something like that? Would a good person assume that I'm supposed to have them at some particular regard, even though they've literally done nothing for me in my life? Is that something good people do? Because if you walk up to any stranger and tell them what they got to do for you, what is your realistic expectation from that stranger? And why would a good person do that to a stranger? Does it make sense? See, context I know can be something, but I think a lot of us, we just don't really think about the situations that we see. Okay. And again, a huge indicator amongst black women, the ones who have children, because the ones who ain't got children, they can at least pretend right now. But the ones who do got children, how come most of your children ain't living with their father if you're a good woman? Because the widow can say, well, you know, unfortunately, my husband died. So she in the clear. But if you're not a widow, how am I supposed to tell you a good woman? You keeping children away from their father right now as we speak. What good woman does that? You know, it's a very simple thing. And I understand people gonna make excuses for it. Well, you know, they father a drunk. So you a good woman and you had a baby with a drunk? Well, his father's a drug addict. So you a good woman and you had a baby with a drug addict? His father lazy, won't keep no job. So you a good woman, you had a baby with a man that won't keep a job? See, it's a lot of stuff that people can say, but I gotta ask myself, would a good woman participate in these particular things? Does a good woman take a man through the court system to make sure he can't have custody of his children? A lot of black women say, hey, y'all should fight for y'all kids. Does a good woman make a man fight for his children? Does that make any level of sense? And truth be told, you don't want me fighting for my kids because you might die. Because it's a fight. And don't tell me I got to fight over my children, because what am I going to really want to hold on to the most in life? A lot of people say, well, you shouldn't think like that. You wouldn't kill over your own children? What kind of parent are you? Because I kill you over mine. That's how I was raised. That's the one time you're supposed to understand killing somebody. If you got to kill somebody about your child. If somebody tried to kidnap your child, you wouldn't kill the person trying to kidnap your child. Like, that don't even make sense to me. But I'm going to say, as a society, we push these ideas to men, and a lot of women are authoring and pushing some of these ideas. And we act like something wrong with the guy for not accepting that he's supposed to let somebody kidnap his child. So you going to let somebody kidnap yours? I don't get that. Probably never will. I'm pretty sure I'll die before I understand why you would try to convince me that I should let somebody kidnap my child. I don't care who it is. You know?
Well, they've made a sport out of being difficult. It's a sport for them to be difficult in every way that they can think is imaginable. That's why they have all these stupid sayings that people are picking up and repeating. If you think about it, most of it is about being difficult. They think it's attractive and sporting to be difficult. They've played hard to get for so long that they've just become hard to want.
And I'm gonna say people are real comfortable in that stupidity, and stupidity is a choice. Now, there's a comment right now. Someone made a stupid choice to make a comment on a public platform, as if it won't be addressed. Anything could be addressed on the public platform. The stupid comment by somebody named Danielle from St. Albert said, "You're promoting killing your baby mom." No, you're promoting that. I said, why wouldn't you expect me to kill over my child? See, you're promoting the idea that I should have to kill over my child. I'm saying, why would you have an expectation that I wouldn't kill over my child? You see what you did right there? You see how you're promoting kill your baby mama? And I'm going to assume you're a girl because you got the name Danielle from St. Albert. So Danielle wants women to die. That don't even make sense, especially coming from a woman. But hey, that's you at the end of the day. That's you at the end of the day. It's your choice when it comes down to it. But the thing is, why does a good person make you fight for your own child? In what context could a good woman make a man fight for his child? What is the right context for that to happen? Because I don't think it exists. And that's just real talk. What's the right context for a man to have to fight anybody for his child? Not your child, for his child. Where is that a good thing to do? Okay, because I don't get it. Now I understand two people arguing about something they want their kid to do. One parent may want their kid to go to military school. The other kid may say, well, I want my kid to go to a regular school. I want them to understand regular life or something like. I can understand fighting about what the kid's gonna do, but what good parent makes you fight? What good mother makes a man fight for his own kid, his own child? How can you be a good mother and fight coming into context like that? It don't even make sense. Okay, it don't even make sense. And see, and this is what stupidity does, y'all. Now I'm saying shout out to you, Dan, from saying now. I don't know if you're a regularly stupid person. I don't remember your name, and I don't know if I've ever addressed you before. So I'm not saying you just like a regular stupid person. It's just you made a couple stupid statements today, and that's okay. I don't expect people to be perfect. She said you don't want the responsibility of raising a child. Now, how does that make sense when we're talking about somebody fighting over their child? Who fights over a child that they don't want the responsibility of raising? I'm telling y'all, stupidity is an actual choice. Okay? People say stupid stuff on a regular basis because they want to be stupid. You got to be smart enough to be stupid. Okay? And shout out to Elder Blood. He say all the good and great women I grew up and thought I knew, when God re-educated me non-passively, it was only then I knew 1,000% it was a lie. Now, unfortunately, there are men who come into certain awakenings. It could be from a relationship with God. It could be, something that might spark you. It could be a documentary you see. It could be another man's testimony. It could be courtroom TV. You just see a situation, and something could trigger you and you start accepting what the world is really doing, you know. And black women do regularly say black men need to fight for their kids. So I don't know why black women think that black men should fight for their children if they believe they're good people. Because they're usually talking about fighting with them. Black women are usually talking about fight black women over your child. How can she even perceive herself as a good person, but she wants somebody to fight with her over his child? And the next thing out their mouth, like was done today, is, well, y'all don't even want to take care of your kids. Why are you talking about fighting over kid if you saying the guy don't want to take care of his kid? Why would he have to fight you if he don't want to take care of his kid? That don't even make sense. But they say a lot of stuff that's very oxymoronic. It just don't go together at all. And they just put it out there for people to just accept. And that's why I say we let them off the hook as a society. So how can you really even expect them to be good people? I'm not saying it's okay to be a bad person just because there's no reasonable expectation for you to be good. Not saying that. I'm not saying that's what the truth is. They should be good people anyway. But is there a reasonable expectation I would have to say they're going to be good? I don't know what that would be. According to the court system. Go ahead.
It's training them. See, part of it, you learn things as a parent. You learn, you see mistakes you made when your children are adults. And sometimes, if you're fortunate, they're not, egregious mistakes or irreconcilable mistakes. I mean, my younger daughter is kind of spoiled, which has negatively impacted her in some ways socially. But to be fair to me and her mother, and we kind of spoil her in different ways. She was very premature when she was born. I'm sure I've mentioned this before. She weighed less than 3 pounds when she was born. They had to induce the delivery, I guess, nearly a month or more before she was scheduled to be born. So she was very small and sickly when she was born, and for the first, for much of her early childhood, she was kind of sickly. We were blessed to have, I think, the greatest pediatrician, a brother, black man, to give you maybe some insight on the caliber of a pediatrician this brother was. He's apparently alleged to have been the pediatrician of the Obama's children. So he was a big time dude. He really helped us. I feel indebted to him to this day, and I think he's amazingly. I think he's still practicing in his 80s. I'm kind of going too far with that, but she's kind of spoiled, but she was kind of spoiled because we really sort of indulged her early on because of her being sickly and being afraid about her, whether she would even endure. So you kind of see, things you've done when your children become adults, and I wish I'd handled that differently, sort of thing. But once they get grown, and we get these grown black women out here. They are definitely the thing that is most annoying about most black women, or many black women. I don't know what percentage of them. They are definitely hard-headed. They are definitely defiantly wrong about some things. And to the point in which, and I think you kind of touched on it, I can't see what your name is today. Pardon me.
The Black Reset,
Yeah.
the Great Black Reset. I'm back to normal.
They become they develop these clever quips to protect their ignorance and their defiance, and they do so in ways in which very insulting ways and nasty ways. So a lot of times you end up avoiding dealing with them because you only got so many times to call me sassy or call me a bitch or something like that, and then I'm like, bitch, I kick your ass. I don't play that with no man. So I'm definitely not gonna play that with no woman. So you just kind of back off, and you just kind of have to let them stew in that shit, man, because otherwise you end up doing something that puts your freedom and life or whatever at risk, or lose resources, etc. And that's what collectively we're going to have to do now. You reset. You say we should resegregate. Um, I would say this. I would say go get you some African women, or some women who have been trained to be under more of a patriarchal system, and then go segregate with those women. I would support doing that, but I don't know if I would support segregating with the vast majority of the modern Black women. I think your attrition rate is going to be very high. Your matrimonial homicide rates are going to be very high in that community. So, but it'd be interesting to talk more about that.
Yeah. Now I want to say shout out to the young lady who I'm gonna hope for her sake that she hasn't come to the channel much, because if she's been here for a while and I don't recognize the name, that would indicate she's even dumber than I thought she was. Okay, because I said she probably not regularly stupid, probably just she's saying stupid stuff today. Okay, because I'm being nice. But she also said address all the statements I made. Now it's a dummy if she been here a while, because the dummy is trying to tell me what to do, and I'm the host. Now we know that's just stupid. Okay, the dummy want to tell me what to do, and I'm the host. Dummy, if you want to be addressed, then you get on the panel. You don't run nothing here, and you dumb because you think you finna tell a host what to do, and he actually got to listen to what you say. You don't even matter to me. I don't even know you. All I know is you're a person making stupid statements. And I seen another one of your comments that I'm not going to address, where it indicates to me your feelings is hurt because you got called out for being stupid, and then other people start noticing how dumb you are, and now you mad about it. No, if you want to be addressed, you join the panel. You don't talk from the chat, and if you can't, shut up. That's all. If you ain't got time to defend your position, shut up. Nobody said you had to say stupid stuff. Nobody told you to be dumb today. That's an elected choice you make. It is what it is. Okay?
I wanna bring a phenomenon I've been noticing to the table. After I address the fact that Black Uru was flexing on us over here, y'all saw that, right? Y'all saw that, right?
It was a humble brand, humble, but
right. This man said, "Tell you how good my pediatrician is."
Hold on. Let me explain why. I mean,
I know
we can't
why
kill
you.
you,
I
Black
You
Uru. We can't kill you.
no. Black Uru,
I did not say
we
it
know
as no. I'm saying I did not say it as a flex to me. It was actually meant to be a much more a compliment to this brother. I mean, there
Oh
are a lot of Black families in on the south side of Chicago, who are indebted to this man. You know, like I say,
no,
it's kind of difficult for
I,
me to even, think about him without getting a little emotional, because we took a 3-pound baby to this dude, you know. And she was asthmatic, and it's just a lot of different things. And by the way, he was my daughter's pediatrician before he was the Obamas, because my children
See that?
are older.
He did it again. Y'all
But,
saw that? Y'all saw that? He did it again. He did it again. Now there's a rule up here. We usually do not interrupt Black Uru, but he did it again. He did it again. I'm telling you, this what he said. Now shout out to that brother. I am grateful for that brother
yeah,
stepping in and being the
yeah.
pediatrician he was to help to save and prolong his daughter's life and to bring her to the stage where she is today. Shout out to him. But what Black Uru just said was my adult daughter had this pediatrician, this wonderful and great pediatrician, this black man. And he was so great that the Obamas had to follow me up to get this pediatrician. That's what he said. That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
heard.
that's how he treated. He was able to notice, and the black, even my wife admits that the best doctors, and she believes the best pediatricians in particular, are black men. In fact,
I
we
can
had
agree.
that conversation. We had that conversation just this Sunday, that we were talking with my daughter, and I think in general the best physicians are going to be black men, but especially pediatricians, because you're dealing with children and you need somebody who is calm and assured and don't really, because there were things that were happening with our child that I think we would have read things differently if her physician was a female. And so I just wanted but I wanted to emphasize the point of, that my daughter somewhat became spoiled because of her early childhood development. And some things, if they happen in childhood, and they're not corrected along the way, then they become a permanent feature of the character of that person. And with a lot of these black women, you're seeing you're seeing stuff burned into the to the dot to the I don't know the correct computer term of it, but it's in there. It's forever in there. Yeah, no, well, no. What's the on the motherboard or whatever you call it? It's in there forever. You got to get a whole new computer, or you got to get a whole new woman, because you're just not going to
Some type
change what's
of
in that
virus.
particular system.
You
Yeah.
talking about a virus?
Oh no, I'm talking about something that is in the actual construction of the computer itself. Is not even an outside entity like a virus or whatever. It is who and what that computer is. It represents all of what that computer can possibly be, And I think with a lot of black women, 3 generations into, or 4 generations into the Great Society system and all of what has come with that you're not going to even, certain things is outside of their ability to even process, much less actually attempt to adequately perform and then replicate into future generations of children. They're just gone.
I'm gonna say shout out to Positive Vibes. Hey, appreciate you, sister. Appreciate you. Real talk. Okay, shout out to you. And I do want to say this real quick. Also to I don't know. This is with QUE, I guess. QUE. I don't know what word that would be, but he says laugh
Q.
out loud.
That
What's
means
that?
Q, like a cue ball.
Okay.
Q, like a cue ball.
All right. Well, shout out to Q. He said laugh out loud. The Roger Report Live issued a professional tongue lashing today. Look, I'm not trying to give nobody no tongue lashing. But when you come to a public platform and you just start saying stupid stuff, I ain't supposed to pretend what you're saying ain't stupid. That's all I'm saying. I don't have to pretend I'm done to make other people feel comfortable. That's not what I'm going to do. Okay. Sometimes people just a little bit better at something than you are at the end of the day. And for a woman to be upset about what's being said, because that's what this really comes from. And she probably was a black woman. She just don't like the title, but she can't defend against the title. And my thing is, if you disagree with me, that's one thing. Just actually tell me why you disagree. But to just to quote unquote attack me or attack black men because you don't like the title of the show or you don't like what's being said, I mean that's acting like a child, man. That's for a small-minded platform. We ain't doing that over here. We having a real discussion about the fact that black women aren't good people. And if there's anybody out there who believe they're good people, you can come share your thoughts. We welcome you. Real talk, we welcome you. But let me get a flow. These other gentlemen that then came up. So Inspired Truth, you got the flow first, and we'll give it to Truth Teller right after that. And Truth Teller, I put a message for you backstage if you ain't seen it. So that's for you, brother. Inspired Truth, you have the flow, my good brother.
All right. First off, am I coming in loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
Excellent, excellent. So shout out to you, Brad. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the folk on the panel. I hope y'all are having a great New Year. I think that I liked Guru's analogy that he gave about computer because when I think in terms of good or bad, I really want to think in terms of what works. Does this work or does this not work? A lot of the times, what we end up dealing with when we're addressing things in this space and even in other spaces is kind of dealing with the symptoms instead of dealing with the root cause, instead of dealing with the actual disease itself. And the disease itself is a rejection of black male leadership. Like, often in dating spaces and mating conversations, we often end up dealing with attraction and over indexing on attraction without really thinking about, okay, attraction is just access. So she'll lay down with me, so we'll have bedroom fun or something like that. And we don't think and take that next step of, okay, what is my rank? I have this access. I'm in this, say, even like in military. Okay, I'm in military now. I have a military position. But what is my rank? Am I a private? Am I a general? Do I have leadership? And then the woman is the one that chooses who's their leader and who's not their leader. And what they have there is the ability to 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 change that anytime, any place, anywhere. I'm on this side of the fence today. I'm on that other side of the fence tomorrow, or I'm on the middle of the fence, sitting in between the fence. Whenever I feel like doing that and can do that perpetually. And that's extremely dangerous for a man that's trying to actually make progress and has goals in life, particularly as black men living under the society that we live with under white supremacy. Uh, I think that I think that a lot of what we do is absorb a lot of friction that we shouldn't absorb, and all that friction, the source of that friction, is a rejection of leadership. When you actually have an acceptance of leadership, then that friction it basically goes away. And we kind of valorize our ability to take that friction, and if you call out that friction, then suddenly then you hate black women. Like that is that is now the way that we like merit our ability to take friction that we shouldn't take. And I guess that's where I'll land there. Hopefully that came across.
All right. Yeah, it did. It did. I believe it did. Well, at least to some of us. I'm pretty sure it's one person today that ain't come across to at all. I do believe it's one person in the house that didn't come across to at all. But Truth Teller, you got the flow, my brother. You got the flow.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It took me about a good 2 hours to stop laughing after I was watching them videos. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I can't. I can't. I can't. Black women, this is the importance of hitting the gym, right? If y'all had hit the gym,
she hit something.
A lot of this wouldn't be happening right now. So let's just put it on the table, man. If y'all think about all the comic books and stories of old, and they talk about the villains, come on, can we not acknowledge that our women exhibit a lot of those characteristics, even though in society we practice to dress it up? Like, all right, if somebody does something wrong, i.e., a man, especially a black man, does something wrong, nobody ever says, well, he did this because he was raised this way. He did this because he was abused. He did this because he was traumatized. They don't even talk about any of that. He did this because of slavery. That don't even come up. I'm just saying, listen, a villain is a villain. Every villain got a good reason for why they're a villain, and nobody else cares about it. So I think we need to stop caring about why they villains and just accept the fact that they are and move forward accordingly so we could just save ourselves the headache and just keep it 100, man. That's all. That's it.
So I don't know. I just want to make sure, truth teller. Are you trying to say people should just hold black women accountable? Because that's what it sounds like you're saying. And I know you ain't out here on what Beyonce's internet saying that people should hold black women accountable. Is that what you're saying?
Man, that sounds just like the foolishness he's talking about. That's truth teller do something like that. I know he'll do that because he hate black women. That's why he do stuff like that.
Out here on Beyonce's internet. Now I don't even know the joke about why he's saying Beyonce's internet. I just hear him saying it. You know what I'm saying? You want to help Beyonce's internet talking about whole black women accountable? What's wrong with you, man? Yeah, and I had no idea what the joke is about why they say Beyonce's internet, or is it just one stupid lady said it, then a bunch of other stupid women just started repeating it? I don't know. I have no idea where it comes from.
I prefer to take it further, though, Roger.
I would like to retire. I would like to retire that particular phrase for 2000. I really like to retire that particular phrase.
I hear you, but I don't even think accountable is not the right term anymore. Accountable isn't the right term anymore. There's a price to pay, and they have to pay it. It's just that simple. So what most people confuse with accountability, they confuse accountability with responsibility. And what they do then when you move, okay, well, you need to take responsibility, they'll move to how they adjust with themselves in the situation. Meaning, I feel bad, so therefore that's enough. Or, hey, I acknowledge that I did wrong. What else do you want from me? Right? It stops there for themselves to acknowledge to themselves what they did wrong or what mistake they made, and they think it should stop there. That's not good enough anymore. You have to suffer the consequences of your choices. It has to happen that way because you don't really understand what being responsible for something that you've done is until you suffer the consequences for your decision.
But even with suffering consequences, first of all, and again, because I agree, but if we were in a position where we ourselves could mete out an enforceable punishment that they would be obliged to endure, and then we could then evaluate whether or not that they've adequately paid proper recompense, then you're in a position where you can actually potentially salvage something with them. But merely sort of hoping that God or the cosmos or the mighty white man or whatever punishes them still does not necessarily benefit black men or black people overall. It's still, and it's still kind of and I'm not criticizing what you're saying. I agree with you. I'm just thinking from the perspective of the purposes of black men. It still necessarily benefits black men the way it currently is, even if they are punished.
I do agree, and it's because we don't necessarily. Well, look, I don't want to say how I was about to say it. We don't know how to manage the power that we have inside of our own abilities, right? Because the first thing most men will start doing is making excuses on why they are the way they are. right? That's basically you trying to take that weight off of, okay, you need to be responsible. I understand what your situation is because you went through all of this, right? The second you say to any woman, specifically black women, hey, that was messed up what you did, they gonna fall to whatever happened to them make that mistake, as if that's the reason why, and not the fact that they had a choice, no matter what they went through in the past. So our
Well,
first step that we could do to go in this direction is, I don't care what happened to you, because is your responsibility to rehabilitate yourself from that as an adult human being. Your actions are what you're responsible for. Now, you may have had good intentions, you may have had bad intentions for whatever your actions are. That's really irrelevant as far as what the outcome of your actions were, and you do need to suffer the consequences for the outcome of your actions. Just
a
that
lot of
simple.
this, a lot of this stems from us overly protecting women. Like that's just kind of like an
True.
offshoot of that, and we try to
Yeah,
like
true.
protect them even from their emotional standpoint.
Well, you know,
But
so,
who are we though? Who are we?
Men
but,
in general, but probably the majority of black men. Not us, particular. Not us specifically.
well, I'm gonna say, somebody who, I don't know. I think she felt some type of way before she left, because I believe she left. But maybe she's still here listening, just in the clouds, like a lot of women would do. They just get mad and then they just stay in the clouds, don't say something. A black woman said, lied on me, talking about I'm trying to promote, taking out your baby mama. And when I think about what Michelle Obama did, she said sometimes she want to kill her husband, but she said it on like national TV. And there was zero backlash from that on
It was
any
praise.
large scale by anybody who's high up in media or anything like that. I didn't remember anybody doing a story about it in the newspaper anywhere. I don't remember anyone of note saying that Michelle shouldn't have said that. That's your husband. Okay.
But there was one person that kind of said she shouldn't have said it without saying it. Ironically, it was Julia Roberts in
I
her
was gonna say, well, white
response.
woman.
Yeah, because Julia's like, well, no, I ain't never thought that to my husband.
Not my husband.
You know, because when Michelle said that, she was soliciting the amen corner from the women, and of course some women were kind of applauding it. I'm sure probably many, if not most of them, were black women applauding it. But Julia's response was kind of jarring in that it contrasts, because they're both these very famous women, accomplished, I guess, women. So when Julia's response was different from hers, at least I did. I immediately noticed, because it would have been easy for Julia to have just kind of, yeah, I kind of feel the same way about my husband, but it was surprising in that moment that she didn't respond the same way. And look, not to make it too racial, but I don't, other groups of women, I don't know if they necessarily have this sort of default of putting down their men. I think all women to some degree have some issues with men, but then you also have the issue of, okay, I am publicly presenting. We're not just, at the kitchen table or whatever, ragging on our husbands. I'm publicly presenting this about the only, quote, black man, end quote, who's ever been the leader of the free world. That's a hell of a thing to do. And to be kind of like it's just some I don't know, some girlfriend thing or whatever the fuck. Like I said, it says something socially, culturally about black women in particular, I don't. It's no easy fix for that. There's a whole lot of other stuff have to happen to break that, and I don't think the vast majority of black men have enough time to even try.
I do agree with you on that one. It's just I think there's some fundamental steps we could do, but you're absolutely right. Oh, first of all, let's
Oh,
put it this way:
before
the
you,
environment and their natural default will prevent, unless there's some very extreme action taken, will prevent any turnaround. So let me not make it sound like I'm misunderstanding or I have some kind of dream of they'll act right if we act right. That ain't gonna happen.
shout out to No Placeholder. He said, where was the Secret Service when she said that? That's a good question. What was the Secret Service on? I mean, what was they doing once they found out?
They were protecting her. She's got Secret Service people. She's got Secret Service people. They were protecting her.
If there's anybody that don't like what she said, we got you.
Hey, y'all imagine if they catch beef in the White House and both Secret Service contingents got to fight each other. They got to put that on a TV show. They got to put that on a show.
Oh my gosh! Don't give them ideas.
You got to stand down because the guys protecting the woman, because she a woman, they got to stand down, and let the man fend for himself. That's how that's gonna have to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I wouldn't see that in the show, but they're gonna make it all feminine and feministic and all of that. I want to see the real, what that gonna look like.
Now, shout out to Shark Sims. He done joined us. So, Shark Sims, I'm gonna give you the flow. It's it's been a great day, been a great show so far. I'm very proud about how this show is being handled today, y'all. And I'm gonna say shout out to the sister in the chat. Hey, it ain't personal, just so you know, because you probably still listening, even though I know you got a little upset because you said some dumb things and I addressed how dumb they were. And I get it. If you don't know a person, you don't like them to call you out for being dumb. But you did show up to my show to say dumb stuff. We don't even know you, but you didn't even come on the panel. I mean, but you gonna tell me to address all your comments? I can address them all by just saying you made a very stupid comment by telling me what to do on my show. That was extremely dumb. But there you go. Shark Sims, you got the flow, my brother. Go ahead, do your thing.
Hey, what's up, fellas? How y'all doing? Happy Tuesday out here today. Yeah, I was going pretty deep, but I'm gonna just stay shallow with it today. Concerning that video with that lady running out that store, thinking she was Emmitt Smith, and she ran into the pole. The illest part about that is she told the two ladies that was in the waiting room for her that the cop beat her up and threw her on the floor, and that's why she broke her tooth. And if it wasn't for that camera on his chest, he would have really been thrashed, and what Lord knows what would have happened to him, right? And I say that to say, I don't know if you guys seen it, but it's a little meme going around on the internet that says black women lie all the time. They probably told Rosa Parks just to scoot over.
Damn.
The things that will happen listening to black women, it will get ugly. And it took me 2 times to see that meme till it really sank in.
God damn. You wrong for saying that and not expecting us to laugh. Come on, Joe.
Y'all was supposed to mute up for the laugh, though, but I'll let y'all rock.
I apologize.
I'm sorry. I'm going on mute right now.
But just think about
I wasn't ready.
Just literally think about that. And I heard her husband had a car. So just let them 2 things sink in when it comes to these black women and them not being good people.
Listen, I'm gonna attempt to follow that craziness up. That's rough, man. There's a phenomenon going on out here. You see black women, other women do it too, but black women, we're talking about black women because we're in the community. they get stopped by the police or any law enforcement, they have this aversion to any type of authority, and they are telling the cops how to do their job. You can't do that. You ain't got no authority on me. Where the rules at? Read that to me, and all this other stupid stuff, man. And they end up in these bad situations like this chick that ran into this pole. And they always lie after the fact. And my favorite thing about it is, I'm gonna call my mama. They think their mother has more authority than the cop they dealing with, man. This is a mind virus. They have been socialized to believe that they have authority over all men, and their mother has authority over any authority figure that they run into. It is insane how you see this over and over and over again. If we don't segregate ourselves from the larger community and have autonomy to correct them, it's over for them. They cursed, man, and they're going to drag you down if you procreate with them.
All right. Now I gotta say, shout out to No Placeholder. He say, you foul for that Rosa Parks comment at Shark Sims. Shark Sims, you gonna let him hold you accountable for this meme?
Nah, I didn't make that up. Somebody else seen that joint. I ain't make that one up. That was crazy. But when I seen it, I'm sitting there like, yo, the things that everybody went through just because of that one incident. It was crazy.
And now I gotta say, as I've said many times, and unfortunately I've lost many a channel, but if you had heard or if you had been there, you'd heard me say many a time. The one thing you can count on is as a black man, is black women lying on you and to you.
Yep.
You can count on that. Okay. That's as for sure as the sun rises tomorrow. Okay. Technically, we don't know when the sun ain't gonna rise, but we all expect it to. You know, that's just the way it goes. So yeah, they gonna lie. They gonna lie. Yeah, I mean, that's just the way of the world. And like I say, y'all, you know, the concept of black women not being good people shouldn't really be that hard to accept because, again, as a society, we don't really hold them accountable. So what's the motivation for them to be good people? You get paid to keep a child away from the father. I don't see where your motivation to be a good person is in that scenario. Usually when girls are raised by women and they do something wrong, unless it negatively affects the mamas, nothing's really done about it. So I don't see how that's going to teach them to be accountable. Because, real talk, they'll get more in more trouble for messing with their mama's makeup than bringing some boy home and spend the night. You know, because bringing some boy home to spend the night don't necessarily mess up mama. But take the mama's makeup without permission has a personal effect to hers, and she upset about that. So I don't see how raising them with all these single mothers is doing something where we see a large scale of them getting, held accountable to anything. You go to a school, I'm talking about some form of college or university. If a dude does anything to them that they don't want, or if he does nothing to them, if they just say a guy made me feel bad, stuff gonna happen to him, and basically nothing's gonna happen to her. So I don't know where you're gonna get an idea of holding black women accountable in a college setting. I don't even understand that. College don't teach you that. Okay, if you look at the statistics, even when black women get convicted, it don't look nothing like men. You know, the time they get, what convictions they get, a lot of them can get whatever done to a much lower case because they don't really want to be bothered with them like that anyway. I mean, where do they learn to be accountable in a society where people just let them keep getting away with stuff? And I totally get what Black Reset is saying, because even when a cop shows up, cops are so used to just letting women off the hook, they really don't think they got to listen to a cop. So when they get taken in, they surprised. I think it's a general surprise. And they think something wrong with the officer for taking them in for breaking the law. You're not supposed to take me in. You're supposed to just write me a ticket, if anything, but you're really supposed to just let me go. And what is wrong with you that you won't let me go? Because what type of mindset do you have to have for you to be talking to a cop and you literally say, and I've seen this happen a multitude of times, for you to literally say, hold on, talking to a cop, I'm finna call my mama. As if the cop's supposed to be scared. Because you said you about to call your mom. Well, that's gonna fix everything, huh? Well, see, look, man, I'm sorry. I didn't know you was gonna call your mama on me. You know, what you expect to happen? Well, see, if you gotta call your mama, we could drop the whole thing. That don't happen. That's not real life. But they definitely expect it. So what's going on in their heads? So they are in a society that just don't really care about what they do. Now, there's some bad to the fact that society don't really care what they do. But I'm just saying, if you think black women are good people, explain to me why you even think that.
Well, I do think there are circumstances, and kind of depending on where you are. Look, I don't think a black mother, can necessarily get their daughter off scot-free in that kind of situation. But I do think sometimes law enforcement will temper how they deal with women, with black women, and especially if there's some sort of black matron involved. To some degree, they will temper how they treat you and how they deal with you. Sometimes the mama thing does work to some degree. It don't necessarily make the issue go away, but sometimes it softens how they deal.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if you can break the law and just call your mama, and your mama can make at least a good amount of it go away, there's no expectation for that person to be good. Yeah. Because people are punished so they will be good. That's just a general rule of life. You're punished so you will be good. Nobody has to be taught how to be a bad person. It's picked up naturally. You got to teach people how to be a good person. But who teaching black women? You know, a lot of women will say, well, the disciplinary is supposed to be the man. But then when you look at black women, they got a bunch of kids not even being raised by their father. And let the man actually try to raise them. You're going to end up in the court system because she tried doing everything she legally can to keep you out the picture. And then what do they say? They say, well, the men abandoned the child. Black men won't even break up with a woman. How do you abandon a kid and you won't even break up with the mother? It's an insane thought that black men have let slide for generation to generation. We don't let these women talk about, you guys left your kid. I don't even see him leave a woman. How did he leave a kid without leaving the woman? It don't make no sense to me. Maybe y'all just way smarter than I am, because I cannot figure out how a man abandoned a child when he won't even leave the woman that had the child.
Honestly, Roger, I've only seen it on TV. I've never seen it in my whole life. And I mean, I done seen dudes, they used to run through mad chicks. They had chicks on the side. They was hustlers. They had, low-end jobs, but they was still working. I ain't never seen a dude break up with his girl, literally go to her and be like, yo, we can't be together no more. And she was like, okay. And that was the end of that. I know dudes who tried to break up with their girl and something happened. He might be listening, but there was a dude I know where his baby mama was jealous of him because he was trying to move on and she attacked him with a butter knife and stabbed him in the chest.
I mean, he about got
wait. He got stabbed with a butter knife?
Yes, sir. In the chest.
She hated him. You know how much force you got to use with a butter knife?
Yeah.
Well, that was him saying he didn't want to mess with her no more, though. That's when that happened.
See, that's why that dude in Michigan went to jail. You know, because she stabbed that dude with a butter knife, and it was proven that you could do that. That's what happened. That's
Well,
what happened to the coach at Michigan.
see, the thing is, no matter how a black woman feels about you, but I mean, be realistic. The lower she thinks of you and you break up with her, normally the worse she's gonna take that rejection. Sometimes they're acting that way. It's not even truly about us. It's about the fact that you lowly nigga, believe you can break up with me. And that's just an insult to her all the way around. You know, and so they're gonna do things like that. And that's why I say he got off lucky that that's all he really came to. Because black women have tried to do all kinds of terrible things to black men for breaking up with them. There have literally been black men killed for breaking up with a black woman. They literally get killed. Okay. And I'm gonna say shout out to Jethro Mullet. Okay. Jethro Mullet, I appreciate you, brother, but I'm pretty sure you scared of your mom. Okay. Now, because he say, well, let me highlight it, y'all, so y'all know he actually said this. I ain't just making it up. Okay. He said, "Come on, bro. A zillion black men have abandoned their children. Look at the black community. Yes, look at the black community with women who get custody over their children over men from a general standpoint. Look at the black community where men don't even break up with women. So how do you come up with unless you're being sarcastic, how do you come up with a zillion black men have abandoned their children, but black men don't even break up with their women? How did you figure that out? You tell me. I don't understand that math. I'm not saying I know math like you know math, but I do understand basic addition and subtraction. I get that. Okay. How does a man subtract himself from a child that he won't subtract himself from the woman who had the child with? How does that happen? How does a man add to a woman and then add to it to a child being in existence, but he would not subtract himself from that situation, but he abandoned somebody? How does that work mathematically? I know basic math, you know, the addition, multiplication, subtraction, division. I know those. That's very basic math that they teach. Just about every child is taught that. Everybody, just about every child in America is taught that. I don't know how great you are at math, but please, on the fourth grade level, tell me how black men abandon children when they won't leave the woman that they're with. Tell me, how does that actually happen? I'm not a math genius, so just say it real slow for me so I can understand. That's all I want you to do, bro. I want an actual answer. I'm not saying this sarcastically. I'm saying this since you said that, brother. Can you please give me a legitimate answer to how a man abandons a child when he won't even leave the mama alone that had the child? I see black men tripping over kids that's not even theirs because he was in a stepfather's position, didn't even actually become a stepfather. And he still want to carry on some relationship with some kid because the kid was 2 at the time, and then the kid was 10 when he ended up getting left by the mama, and he still want to be a part of the kid life. I see black men doing crazy stuff like that. So how does he abandon a child? But my bad. Go ahead, Black Haru.
Well, my approach going forward with dealing with brothers who respond like that, I'll just try to soften the approach, because sometimes the issue with men is ego,
Respectfully, Black Haru, let me say this. So let me say what he responded with before you finish whatever it is you about to say, because I think this should be added to whatever you gonna say. This man literally responded, y'all, and I put it on the screen. This is an actual response. He says, "What does a man not breaking up with a woman have to do with anything? If a woman breaks up with a man, it's over. Doesn't matter if the man initiated or not." Now, remember, y'all, what he's talking about is men abandoning children. And I said the man won't even break up with the woman, let alone the child. And his response is she left.
But I think what both of you are arguing is kind of um, a secondary or tertiary issue, because the truth is a small percentage of men are making a disproportionate number of children. A small percentage of men cannot even logistically be an effective father for all the children they make. You know, and because we have a scenario in which we granted sexual freedom to women, the ability to have children out of wedlock, et cetera, whatever, it allows, even if it's only a small percentage of us, to create a problem that's much magnified beyond their own individual selves. So then he's making responsible all of us for something that all the available social science says is created by a very small percentage of men. So even his argument, his initial argument was erroneous on the face of it. It was erroneous on the face of it. And so I would rather deal with the error in, or the, frankly, the lie that there is so many black men making so many children, regardless of whether they leave or stay, because sometimes brothers might want to stay and the woman would rather he go, and sometimes he wants to go. Okay, you know, whatever. But we do know the actual social science says a very small percentage of men disproportionately. Well, the social science says that more black women have children than black men, considerably more, materially more, by the millions. So what that means is that the women are having a lot of children by a small group of black men and a growing number of non-black men. That's what the actual social science says. So Jeffrey, you're wrong, brother. You're wrong. And part of now, you know, again, this is 2026. You know, we need to start talking like real facts about stuff now. Because if we are going to pretend there's going to be a society, a black society, and we're going to try to fix it and all these magnanimous ideas, I'm suspicious of them personally. But okay, if we are going to talk in that way, brother, we got it. You're a black man. You are, by presumably your existence as a black man, you are too gifted as a human being to perpetuate that level of ignorance going forward. And we have to demand much better of each other than that at this point going forward. We don't have the time, we don't have the resources, and we have flagging goodwill to continue to entertain our being ignorant. One thing for the women to be ignorant. It's one thing for the white man to be ignorant and evil and all these other people. We can't afford it.
Okay, now I'm gonna say real quick, and then now he did respond, y'all. For whatever reason, he responded. Now he basically is telling us something that his mama told him, and I told y'all, I said in the beginning, he's scared of his mama, and I know this is true. And not that he ain't scared of other black women, but he's scared. So I get it. He says, prime example: a woman will cut her sexual access off with the man, and the man will cut off the child. Well, the man will cut the child off in return. Happens all the time in the black community. And no, it doesn't happen. What you did was accept what women tell you. Women tell you they cut off access to sex with the man, and most of them lying. And then they told you, well, he don't do nothing for the child. No, bro, it's way too many examples of men who are being kept from their children, and the child's mother is the one doing it. And a lot of times they're using the court system to do it, or they're using the police they're using the criminal justice system to do it. So no, brother, that's clearly a lie. But it's a lie you accept because you're afraid of women. Now, we're done with you for today, unless you're going to come on to the panel. We ain't going to have a conversation with you while you're in the chat. So we're basically done with you for today because you're scared. Get on here and defend your position as a man on this panel. Don't attempt to do it from the chat. And I'm not saying it's illegal for you to be scared of women, but you clearly are. Okay? Because you are too grown to not know better. If you hear at this time of the day, you too grown to not know better. All right. I don't think you some bum on the street
and
somewhere
reset
and you got a phone that you typing on.
and reset. When we
Yes, sir.
resegregate, what do
Uh
we
huh.
do with that ignorance? What do we do with
What if what this brother is displaying here?
that? Yes, yes.
Oh, no, no, no.
Because
See,
you got to do
when
something
we're
with that. Because he's gonna be
no,
amongst you. He's gonna be amongst us in this rebuilding society. What are you gonna do with that?
when you're segregated, there has to be the productive black men and the leaders of the community have to correct the entire community. That means men too. You see, everybody ain't gonna make it, literally and figuratively. But we have to have autonomy over our society to bring this correction. Because there are some people in our society that don't even deserve to be on this planet.
I'm gonna say this because everybody tries to look at this from a very, very, very unrealistic view. Men don't cut off access from their children. It's kind of hard to be a bad dad. Let me point this out to people, right? Women know who the fuck they fuck with. Women know what man's gonna fight them tooth and nail in child support and child custody battles, and the men that they don't. If you ever notice, when the average woman's around 35, 45, she's looking for any nigga will do.
Yeah, they did that. They all settle, and it's funny because this is they want to. I deserve.
But here's the part. Here's the funny part, fellas. Every woman fucking settles. Every woman
Yep.
has an innate genetic code about them of dating up. Even if she dates a hobosexual, that hobosexual outranks her at some point. When I'm listening to this shit about women cut off sex and access, bullshit, bullshit. If that was true, why do they have? Why is it that 70% of black women, if they have two or more children, they're by two or more men? So does that sound like sexual access is cut off?
No, it don't.
So let's really talk about. Let's stop going by theory and let's go by fucking practice, please. Because a lot of you black men, and this is the reason why I call black men the garbage men of the dating world, you believe what anybody will fucking tell you instead of looking at the fucking world realistically. You got Google, a fucking 5-second Google search will clean your fucking clock. But what do we do? You listen to your fucking women and you wonder why we have a term called bitch made. Like, I'm sorry. You really want the I'm if if you really can't raise a kid, if you can't live in a house without a woman, you're not a man. If the first time you left your fucking parents' house to go live with a bitch, you're not a man. If you've never lived in a house by your goddamn self, you're not a man. I'd rather live in a cardboard box than to live in a mini mansion with an ungrateful, insufferable, downright disrespectful bitch. But because so many men are pussy to go on their hero's journey, like I said, to be the hero of your own damn narrative, you rather take all this abuse. You rather take all this shit. You wonder why. I don't think it's just black women aren't good people. I think women period are not good people because we never forced them to be. Especially white people are the experiment, black people are the goddamn atomic bomb. We're suffering from nuclear fallout. You really think about this. We're at what, 2026? By 2030, 40 to 50% of the women in this country are going to be single and childless? Is that a man problem? Or is that an insufferable bitch problem?
Well, I do want to say, y'all, because it happens so many times. Now, the person who was making those comments was going by the name Jethro Mullet. Okay. Now, realistically speaking, we have to take into account that Jethro could very much be a woman that's just using the male name. They do it all the time. Okay. Because they want to, number one, they don't want to hold themselves accountable for even making the comment in any kind of shape, way, or form. And a lot of women will say stuff through social media and then they'll say a man said it. And then they'll point to something they said. They literally use the man's name, said something, and then they'll say a man said this. That's where I got it from. Then they point to a avatar that they actually was behind to say a man said it. So it's a very good chance that Jethro is an actual woman just using the man's name. This happens all the time. So
And
when we
and,
say what we gonna do with these men, most of them ain't men in the first place. They're just women using men's names.
and here's the crazy part. I know when people say, "Guess what?" And shout out to Shaka Newler about the yeah, she can force people to be good. That's why we have laws. That's why we have laws. See, men had to be okay with child support and child custody. See, you're indoctrinated into telling, oh, I'm gonna take the kids over your dead body. You notice that once again, I'm not condoning violence, but if you notice, certain people don't get played with. Stop thinking women are stupid. They know who to pull bullshit on and who not to. There's always a man in her life that checked the shit out of her. See, we got to go back to the animal kingdom, which, believe it or not, scientifically human beings are a part of. We just built up this artificial construct called urbanization. So, a lion, a 600-pound cat, the second largest in the world, would that lion fuck with a in their prime 2,000-pound wildebeest head on? Yes or no, fellas?
A
No.
wildebeest? No.
No,
I mean, if the lion is hungry enough, it'll take on that wildebeest.
not head on. If you study zoology, they usually
He'll
get the
jump on his ass.
they
He'll jump
usually
on his hind
they
quarters.
usually injured or the young. So if a goddamn six
Well,
hundred pound
that's
killing,
why I said if it's hungry enough.
even if it's hungry
That's why I said
enough,
if it's hungry enough.
and even when it's hungry enough, guess what? They're not taking on that prime wildebeest. They're getting the weak, the old, or the injured. That's just they know that. So with that being said, if a 600-pound killing machine has the God given common sense of saying, you know what? I'm not gonna fuck with that one. I'm gonna mess with this one. That's easier. What do you think women have manipulated your ass to? Because sometimes people forget the first guy to crack you had to defeat his mama. And if you never had to put your mama in check, and I never said you had to disrespect your mother, but if you never had to put your mama in check, a lot of our shows are for naught. Because a lot of times the gynocrat in your brain is the first thing you have to overcome. When we talking about not good people, well, the men don't take care of their kids. Who raised them to be that way? So called.
Hey, mama.
So if you're fighting a chick, because guess what daddies used to do back in the day? It's called shotgun weddings. You break, you buy. Y'all married now. Oh, there's no prom. You got to take care of that baby. Both of you, not both of them, both of them.
I think part of that is So part of what you just said, I think, is also part of the gynocracy's brainwashing of men, right? Because we hear it. You'll hear men say it. They're not taking care of their kids. What exactly does that mean? Right? Does that mean not sending them money, not visiting them? Right? Well, when y'all say that, what the hell y'all talking about? Not taking care of their kids?
I'm gonna say what that really means is either it's a woman saying it behind the avatar, or more than likely it's a man who watched his mama, who was a hoe, not have a man in her life be a husband. And guess what? Because he accepted the BS stories that his mama told him about his daddy, he wants to be comfortable and say it's got to be all them guys too. My daddy wasn't nothing because that's what my mama said. So
You know
your
what?
daddy wasn't nothing either.
You know it's funny, Roger. You know
If
what's
you
funny
hear
about
if
that?
you hear a man say that, if you hear a man say that, it's just about guaranteed that there is some estrangement for whatever reason. There's some estrangement, early estrangement with his father. No man who has had any real father is going to think and say that. No
You know,
man. So unless because your primary thought and understanding about who and what a man is going to come from your father. But because we have a society that allows black women to so easily estrange sons from their fathers, it makes it much easier to spread the propaganda of the evil black father. Because you got so many black boys who are hurt because of what happened in their early childhood. And they're trying to why they're so hurt. And it's easy to just blame it on.
it's always fun.
Real
But
quick before you say it,
I
before you
think
say
it's the
that,
female.
hold
Oh,
on,
sorry.
real quick. Shout out to No Placeholder. He said black men still dealing with the quote unquote deadbeat trope. Shaking my head. Now I just want to remind everybody, unless the woman is a widow, the only reason the father's not there is because something the mother did. It's that simple at the end of the day. We give women too many excuses. If the father's not raising his child, it's literally the mama's fault. Literally. She went to the court system to make sure he couldn't raise the kid. She started calling the cops on him so he would leave the situation alone. She did something. It's a very similar story every single time. Or the kid don't even know who his daddy is, and the man might not even know the kid exists because the woman never told him she was pregnant. It's 100% on the woman. There's never a time, unless she's a widow, that a child can be raised without their father unless the woman is behind it. There's
You know,
no other scenario in this country outside of being a widow where that can actually happen.
you know, you know what that said is that I've always told this to some of my exes who I still keep in contact with. I ask these three questions: what type of man do you dream of? What type of man do you attract? And what the fuck are you gonna give him? One ex just turned 38 on the first. I said, first of all, you got three kids, two by a guy, one by your ex-husband. If you said you want a guy with no kids or the same age, I said, I said, do you know how selfish that sounds? You are so unrealistic that even when we dated, I said, tell me, what man that you dated equaled me? I really, women have a bad barometer of knowing when they have the best that they have. And I say to this is the reason why I say I will never pay for what a lesser man got for free or discounted.
Well, well, I'm gonna say they know exactly what they're doing. That's why they're able to get the same results no matter where they happen to be in the country. They know exactly what they're doing. And I'm gonna say women do not settle. We settle for them because they don't take care of us. At the end of the day, we settle for them. I didn't get who I really wanted because I really wanted this other woman who was super fine. She had a bad body, whatever the case is. But hey, she was famous. That was my childhood crush or something. Or it was some girl in school that I didn't talk to, or she was always with somebody at the time. I didn't get who I really wanted. So I come out as an adult into a society and I settle on somebody else. I don't get who I want unless I date my high school sweetheart. So I'm settling for any woman I'm with. And so is every other man, because ain't none of these women volunteering to take care of us. So
Here's
we're settling for them.
here's the part that also kills me. It's also the shit that tells me about black men, because black men probably have the lowest self esteem on earth. Oh, you saying you're being mean, Charles? No, I'm not. Who will openly date obese, nasty attitude women?
Black men.
You, you're telling me that instead of saying no to big bitches, because guess what happens? Because everybody will adhere to what the rulings are. Stop fucking them. Stop dating. Stop marrying them. And guess what women are going to have to do? They're going to have to stop and be alone. Have you noticed how miserable Lonelyville is? Population U, lady. I've looked at it. It's always the guy's fault, but it's never your fault. You wonder why they're not good people? Because you're not forced to be great. Like my wrestling coach used to tell me,
Chuck,
make
Chuck,
you great.
Chuck, Chuck, I really think we should interrogate this black men being garbage men thing. I mean, because these are men that are born and bred in a society that has made dangerous them picking other women. It made it dangerous to do that. Where you pick certain women, you get lynched. Certain other women avoid dealing with you because you're black men. So this garbage men thing is that you're talking about people being garbage, and they're born in a fucking garbage yard, and
And
they're
guess what?
forced into a garbage
No, that might have been back in
junkyard.
the
And
days.
it's only
That might have
really
been back in the
now.
days, Guru. We
It's
got
only
choices now.
really now. Yeah, I was getting ready to say it's only really now, and that's why you have growing numbers of young black men in particular who feel liberated to either deal with non-black women or to leave the country. That's why the passport thing is. I don't think black men are any more predisposed to quote garbage women than any other group of men. I think there was very unique circumstances inhibiting the choices of black men or their perception of their choices. I think that's why they made bad decisions. Not that they necessarily have. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you measure esteem. What I see is typically when a black man has more resources, when he has traveled, when he has some status, he tend to pick a higher grade of female, and very often they're not necessarily black female.
And here's where I disagree. Because I'm gonna put it into the how long has crack been out? Since the early '80s. Everybody knows what all all the issues that come with drug use with crack cocaine, right? Why the fuck in 2026 we still have crackheads? At some point, you
Well,
gotta say,
I mean, there probably
and
are far fewer crackheads today
Yeah,
than there were in
here's the
1992.
why,
Though,
why do we still have it? But you know what the fuck it does, and it's crazy because even then, right? We'll even give people till since the '50s or the late '60s.
well, I'm gonna jump in because there's a super chat and we kind of veering off the subject of the show, and I'm not gonna do that. Not gonna do that. But I am gonna say yes. It's far less crack is it. It is now than it was then because people have seen the outcomes of what being a crackhead is. So a lot of folks don't indulge in that because we've seen the outcome at this point. And when you go up and you've already seen the outcome, you're not so quick to do it. Back in the day, people didn't know what the outcome was truly gonna be. And that's why I believe you have more black men at this particular point who are single and childless because we really want to be with black women. We even want to have children by black women, but we can't find a decent one to settle for. Okay, we can't settle for these because they that bad at the end of the day. And I think a lot of the reason that they're that bad is because we don't seriously as a society, hold them accountable for stuff. So they're just not good people at the end of the day. And black men already trying to hold on to what they do got. So why get with a woman who will help you have less? Now,
And
shout
this,
out to There I Said It. He says the gynocracy influenced black men so deeply, black men would do well to ignore all social norms in the black community and think for yourself. Well, I'm gonna say this. The one of the first things we need to do is accept what I've been promoting. It's two very different subsections of the black community and figure out which one you want to belong to. There are black men who are respectable, productive, and functional, who believe in black men's leadership, their wives, and the children that live in their homes. Now, that's one community you can be a part of, or you automatically are in the anti-family, dysfunctional single mother community. There is no other options. And if you accept that that's what the two options are, it should be easy for you to make your choice on which one you want to belong to.
and that's the point that I'm making is that really, when you tell people, yes, you're making a conscious decision on being the garbage man, when you have options, even two, three generations ago, you have more functionality out of your relationships or marriages. Right now, you don't have much, and then on top of that, you have a lot of black men who still think you should. If I become a better person, no, fuck all that. Be a better person for you. All the shit she wants to get for herself. Why don't you like a better house?
What,
Why don't
what,
you like a better car? Be better for you.
what, Charles? That I do agree, but I'm saying that is veering off what the show is about. But I am going to say because black men are becoming better people, we are veering away from black women. That explains why you have more than half the men that are there that are unmarried without children. That's men making the decision. I want something different. Because let's keep it real. We can go give a bunch of them babies right now. They're not going to tell us no. But because black men are so trained to let the woman off the hook, we say stuff like, "Or you can't get a woman. You can't. You can't get this. You can't get." Ain't no literal standards amongst black women when it comes to from a collective standpoint. Black women ain't got no standards. We can just about anybody can get a black woman pregnant. Now I know there's a lot of people who don't want to agree with something like that because it sounds so bad, but that's not gonna stop it from being true. Who can get a black woman pregnant? You ain't got to be just black. You could be anything. Especially if you're a non-black man, you can get a black woman pregnant. They open their legs right away. If you're not black, they just gonna open their legs a little bit faster. People, women will complain about how these quote unquote niggas who ain't nothing, who won't take care of the kids and all that, but they hitting it though. You can't say the men are bad and the men can steady hit it and have babies with you, and then I'm supposed to act like black women have a standard. Everybody can get them pregnant. I'm talking about from a collective standpoint. Who can't get a black woman pregnant? So yeah, we could have them. We're choosing to do something different. Now, being able to go to somebody else is going to add certain difficulties based on what your personal situation is. But there's a reason that more than half of black men are not married and don't have children. And you got over 75% of black women who are unmarried right now. It's not like they're not available to get. We just don't want them.
Well, I
Because
beg
they're
to differ,
not
Roger,
good
but
people.
I beg to differ, but this is your show, so I'm gonna go with that. All right.
Well, I mean, let's be realistic. Good women are noticed in society, and men want to take them off the market. So why do you have about 75% of black women that are not married? They're clearly not good people because it ain't just about black men. All the different men that come around them don't want to take them off the market.
But but they don't. All right, so we got a craze where they saying they don't want to be married. So let's run with that notion right there. All right, you don't want to be married, but they're still getting sex. Black men use
What,
the most condoms in
what,
America. Why? Because we don't want to get them pregnant, but we do want to have sex with them, which leads us back to the garbage man.
Well, I'm not on argue the garbage man because it really ain't the subject of the show. But at the end of the day, no matter how you put it, it does say that when men can have sex with them. We can access them. We can even marry them if they want to. Women claim they don't want to be married because they don't want to be embarrassed about the fact that no guy will marry them. That's just the reality. That's not about black men. They are in an American society with more than just black men. No guy will marry them. You cannot be single while you have a bunch of men willing to marry you. Nobody wants to marry them.
Roger, do you think black women can fix themselves just on their own? If the society is not going to punish them, if we're not going to punish them, who how are they going to? I mean, it's fine to talk about how bad they are, but how can they possibly be fixed? Or I guess we're not interested in them possibly being fixed. Or
Here's the, here's the way,
I'm trying.
no,
Yeah.
here's the way you fix it. You know, you want to make something better. You're a parent. When your child did something wrong, did you take corrective measures? And sometimes the corrective measures is just not giving you what the hell you want or what you think you deserve. If I hate to say it in this blunt place, if you need to go anywhere to get another culture of black women, do it. If you need to change the mothers because guess what? You have the most egalitarian man on the planet as a black man. We can fit in anywhere. The funniest part about it is when you take black men out the equation of the black American society, how many of our problems how many of our problems are still existing? How many would they go away? 95% of our problems in the black community is not because of black men. When
Amen.
when you reward the reason why your presence is a reward to a woman. Did y'all agree to that?
Oh, it absolutely is. There's automatic benefits you get just because you're standing next to her.
Your presence is a benefit and a reward to a woman. Because guess how many people will not bother her? You just stand next to her. So you're telling me, I've always asked this question: what do I get for the cost of my life? If she can't answer that, there's no reward given. I think the problem is the mentality that why are they bad people? Because you're dealing with spoiled brats. And nobody wants to put it in that category. A spoiled brat does not appreciate it, just expect it.
Yeah. And,
You know
and,
what?
and I'm gonna say to answer your question, Black Rule, because you say, do I think they're gonna be quote unquote like fixed on their own? That's what you were kind of saying. I'm not necessarily thinking they're gonna do it themselves because they always had that choice in front of them, and they continually on a collective basis choose not to be better people. And I have said the reason they haven't made that choice is because society doesn't punish them. And that includes black men for the most part. Most black men will not hold a woman accountable for basically anything. So just looking at patterns of behavior, I think when we as a society decide to hold them accountable, that's when they're going to make a decision that I need to be a better person. But until we do that from a collective standpoint, it ain't got to be every single man. But if
Yeah,
you
but
participate,
Shark alluded. I think Shark alluded to a salient point about sexual depravity.
no,
I think depriving them of your intimate company is a part of the formula.
no, I wasn't. I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing with him, but I'm saying what he's saying doesn't negate the fact that they're unchosen. Because to me, that's the point. They are
No,
unchosen.
that's the point to you.
No,
That's not the
no, no.
point. No, that's not how they think.
But
You're
when
putting men's logic on
when
females.
you
What,
lay with a woman, you confuse her. You
what,
do. I mean, I think we have to be.
hold that. I'm not debating Shark's point. I'm not debating because you can have more than one solution. And honestly, it's going to take more than one solution. I think depriving them sexually will help. I think the fact that we start pointing out the fact that we're not marrying them because they're not good enough would help. Unfortunately, what you have is a bunch of men who will say,
Understand, every moment you spend with them, every moment you spend with them, even talking to them,
It's
you
choosing.
you confuse the issue with them. Every moment you spend with them, and you know this. I know this because I've lived with them and I've raised them, and I know how, and so I know how crucial our presence is to them.
"Well,
So that's why I say, that's why, let me finish. That's why I'm pro passport, pro all that, because to me, it's got to be like a full removal of presence, because that's the only way in this society black men can legally punish them, to the point in which there has to be some reconsideration of, their life, in their existence and their purpose. Because once you're just no longer, and you kind of see and hear that, and like, well, we hosted this event and none of the men show up. Where are the men that you got
Mm-hmm.
the women crying in their cars because there are no brothers attending the local not-for-profit activities and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, if you want to possibly fix them, you do have to take the dick out of the point. You do have to, I think.
well, my point is, I'm just not. The only thing I'm saying is I'm not debating with what Shark is saying. What I'm saying is we are trending in that direction. Now, how long it's going to take every individual dude to join that direction? That's all individual questions. But I'm gonna say, as a majority, we're trending in that direction because you have the 75% of them who are unmarried. That
But
shows a trend in that direction.
but
You have
Raj,
well, hold on, let me just say, because I'm not fighting the concept. I'm saying amongst younger men, you have them choosing to not even start engaging in sexual activities with them. We're trending in that direction. Part of the problem, though, is we have too many people trying to give women excuses because they're saying stuff like, a woman won't give you sex, which ain't the case. The thing is, the man won't give the woman sex. A woman don't want to be with you. No, no, no. I settle for women and I don't want to be with them. The issue is that thoughts that our mamas gave us is so prevalent that you have to put this in there because you just quote unquote removing yourself is one thing, but you also have to give the message because there's so many men who are women led that they're going to make it about what you couldn't get when it came to a woman. And that's really not the case when you pay attention to what's going on. Black men do not have a desire to collectively have children with black women. Now, I'm the only person that says that, but the stats show it every single day.
yeah,
Black men don't want to have children with black women. They don't.
the stats show that you are correct, and the stats also, like you said, 75% of them are not getting married. Right? Those are stats. Those are in the stone.
Right.
They still don't care.
You
They,
got to realize.
those things are right there in their face, and they still don't
So
You
care.
I
got
Why? Because they're still getting hugs, they're still getting drinks bought, they're still getting conversation. We're
no,
still letting them come up on panels
not
and talk
many.
their mind.
You got to think about it. COVID is a very beautiful thing. Co- COVID,
Yeah,
COVID is a very beautiful thing because, as Hillary Clinton said, "Fuck that bitch." Never waste a perfect catastrophe. When you actually started not to be social with people, you find out how much you really don't need the motherfuckers. It's funny, and by the way, I can't let that slip because Uber said you should be a dick Nazi. No dick for you tonight. No dick for you. Get out. Uh, number one. Number two. When you want to fix somebody's behavior, you always have to have heavy consequences. It's like you ever had a kid who had a hitting problem when they're little babies. They want to hit. How do you fix that problem? You get it rolled up, and this is what I do to my great nephews because they have their twins and they have this little hitting problem. which you have to correct before they go to daycare because they're going to be looked at as holy terrorists. So I get a rolled up newspaper when they're hitting me, and I pop them right in the arm or the leg. Pop! And they hit me and they start crying. And then they hit me again. Pop! What does that tell them? Even at one, if I hit him, I'm going to get hit back. What happens when, metaphorically, black men hit back? When you just ignore people and you become indifferent, I mean, the whole society should shut down. You see a chick with kids in the car and she got her little tire. I know how much you want to help, but guess what? Some chick in the world made it bad for you. It's a thing we had in the military and the police department. The reason why you have a GO is because somebody actually fucked it up for all of us. We got to go to the somebody fucked it up for all of you moment. Hey, I see you there, chick, with your fucking flat tire. Ooh, hope you call it. Hope you have AAA. Ooh, you can't give that chivalry back anymore. It's dead. It's been buried. Now, if that's your daughter or your wife, okay, you do what you got to do. But to random women, because women receive benefits from random men, we don't get benefits from random women.
What,
So,
what
uh,
now that's why I say if you're gonna help a woman, you need to ask to speak to her husband first. And if she ain't got no husband, it's time to roll out. It is what it is on that note. And
I don't even
and, and,
think you go
and,
that far.
and what, well, let me say this too, because some of y'all ain't getting my point. Because shout out to Afro Merch, he said, and like Uru and Shark is saying, you have to deprive them of physical intimacy and attention. I'm not saying that's wrong, y'all. What I'm saying is there's a very important piece that needs to go with it. You need to tell the truth why we're depriving them, because you have a bunch of guys who are going to say the issue is you as a man, and women are already used to that, and they want something to grab onto. You got to tell them the truth. Look, I'm a man, you a woman. If we get together, it's a possibility I'm gonna take care of you. We both know you ain't gonna take care of me. So I'm the important one, and you're the not so important one. In order for me to be around you, you're gonna have to make yourself important to me. How are you planning to do that? See, you gotta stop all
Well,
this
I mean, I
gynocentric
don't,
thinking and put it on his head,
I,
so it'll be back right.
I don't disagree with, I don't disagree with what you're saying. I don't think the women are still going to lie, regardless of
Pretty much.
whatever you
Yeah.
say between you and them. She's still going to lie and blame it all on you, regardless. So I'm really at this point. I think we really should just focus on the messaging to the men.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
there's no deal you're going to make with them that they're going to honor over the long term, especially if and when it becomes inconvenient for them to honor that agreement. So I don't really even, at this point, see much value in talking to them at all.
Well,
To
well,
me,
well,
the value is in creating, oh, let me finish, creating a code amongst men so that we have an understanding about what things are and just live accordingly. And guess what? If you don't deal with quote Keisha, maybe that's not a term we should use, but then you don't have to be explaining nothing about what went wrong with her to begin with. I don't, it doesn't matter whatever lies she tell about a relationship that we never even have to begin with. If I never get involved with her at all, then what lie can she tell about?
no, I do agree. You got to have men do things like that. But I'm saying the narrative needs to be there, period. Because every day a new boy is born, and every day a new boy gonna make 18, and every day another new boy gonna be lied to. The narrative needs to change, and we gonna have to change that narrative so men will have an expectation of what they're supposed to have in the first place. Without the narrative changing, you just get new people involved in the same traps. So I'm saying,
So
as men, we got to change the narrative and start telling the truth about what's really going on.
I want to come in because I think both of y'all are right, but there's a fundamental flaw. Y'all not talking like y'all understand that they're actually evil, right? You know, there's a couple comments here and there about, you know, they're spoiled children, they're this and that and the third. No, they're literally supervillains. They know what they're doing it on purpose. Honestly, most women are sociopaths. I'm just going to say it, and I'm not even a licensed person to say it. The difference between for those who don't know, a psychopath and a sociopath, the difference between a psychopath and a psychopath can't tell what's right or wrong. A
Well,
sociopath knows what's right or wrong and doesn't care. So if you understand who you're dealing with, it's not hard to say, all right, well, you know, whether I explain this to them or not really is irrelevant. I need to explain it to the men who may or may not deal with them. Now, I'm not on the fence of not dealing with them at all. The simple reason for that is because the way men treat them now, they the way men treat them now is a response to how they act, but it is always the man's fault for their own situation that they're in. So basically, the fact that they have problems now isn't their fault, it's men's fault. So therefore, they never have to take responsibility for the situation that they're in. Hence, why it's never going to change, because they are goddamn evil. It's like dealing with the Joker and trying to convince him he's not crazy and evil. It's not going to happen. You
here's
have to
the
treat
part.
his ass accordingly.
Here's the part about evil, right? A spoiled brat is evil, but at the
A
same,
spoiled brat, you apply some innocence with that when you say a spoiled brat. No, just call it out, man.
no, it
There's no
doesn't.
reason to do that.
You know better. If I say no, and you know that I'm in charge of you, and what I say goes, you know the difference between right and wrong. You
True,
are
but they're not children. So why would we
well,
put that innocence on them? There's
a
no need.
spoiled a spoiled brat doesn't have to be a child, does it?
All right,
No, no, but everybody thinks that when they hear it. There's no reason for us
what
to give them
Here's,
ammo.
here's the
Okay,
part.
let me get this, because y'all, I gotta get off air. I got to do stuff, so I got to bring this to a close. I'm gonna say shout out to Oliver the Great. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Appreciate the super sticker, my brother. Appreciate the super sticker. And I'm gonna say shout out to Family Business. He said that's not gonna fly with black women, Roger. Now I'm gonna say this, y'all. Why do you care? When are you gonna just accept the leadership role? I don't care nothing about what flies with black women. I don't know how I can be more abundantly clear about that. I don't care what they think. They're not paying for it anyway. Okay? I barely care what my mama think. I'm an adult that takes care of myself. I'm grown. My mama, because she is my mama, has access to give me an opinion. And I will listen to her opinion. Will I actually do her opinion? That depends on what I think. You see what I'm saying? She has enough access to me that she can give me her opinion. Most black women will never have enough access to me that their opinion will even be heard by me. Because you ain't gonna pay for squat. Why am I listening? The outcomes you have nothing to do with. If it go wrong, you ain't gonna help me fix it. So why am I listening to you? And that's just real talk. So I don't care what people accept. I care about what people who gonna pay for it accept. If you're gonna say I want to care about what people accept, I care about people who gonna help me fix it if it don't come out the way I want it to come out. But if you ain't trying to be involved in helping me with the process, why does what you think matter? It don't. You can be the greatest man in all construction, but if I put up a building and you don't want to help me, why do your opinion matter? I'm not coming to you if you don't like me, and yet you may know everything I need to know to get this building put up sound. But if I know you don't like me, I ain't coming to you for no advice. That's crazy. So what do I care what women think? I care about the women who willing to do what they're told, because them the ones I can work with. And they can not like what I tell them to do, but as long as they doing it, I got progress. The women who want to tell me what to do, which is going to impede upon my progress, man, I don't care nothing about what they talking about. It's that simple. At the end of the day, where are you trying to go? How you trying to get there? And are you willing to let a woman stop you from getting there? I don't really care what they think. This how it's going to go because I'm paying for it. I'm the boss of this. Black men gonna have to be in a boss position. Period. If you understand how to listen to a leader, because most of us have done it at work. Some of us become leaders at work, and we got to tell other men what to do. If we can handle it, they can handle it too. I ain't trying to hear nothing about excuses, y'all. And I'm not saying family business meant it that way. I'm just saying when it come down to it, I don't care about no excuse. She gonna either start doing what I tell her to do, or she not gonna be there to be told anything. And that's just what's real. And unfortunately, y'all, I got to do something, so I'm going to close it out right now. I mean, we got to the 3-hour mark, so I'm closing out. Of course, we can still talk backstage, but I got to get off here. I got to get moving. Got a little special thing going on. You know, you feel me? So y'all have a good rest of y'all day. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right. And I'm out.